Tonight, the future of Australian swimming takes to the blocks. From every corner of the country, the nation's best young swimmers have come together with one goal: to become a household name. These athletes are chasing a national title. They're the ones pushing limits, breaking barriers, and dreaming of wearing the green and gold on the world stage. Some will leave with medals, some will leave with records.
Lincoln Wearing in lane 4. He's broken Mac Horton's Australian record in the 15 years. An Australian record there, breaking Nicholas Stupas' record at 29.84.
For some, it's the start of something extraordinary.
16-year-old Sienna Tui sealed her Dolphins debut, a dream realised amid tears of adulation.
Among this group are the swimmers who'll become Australia's next champions, the next Olympians, the future legends of the pool. This is where it all begins.
Well, it's time. It's finals night. It's night 4 of the Australian Age Swimming Championships. A big welcome to you wherever you're watching around Australia, streaming on 9 Now. We're in the beautiful Gold Coast Aquatic Centre. We've got a big night of swimming action ahead from the best and brightest stars of the future. So far this week, we've seen so many Australian records being broken. I'm sure more will be broken before the week is out. Joining me tonight is Alex Graham and Emily Seabohm. I'm Matt Welsh, and we're going to help you take you through all the action. Welcome, guys. I'm going to start with you, Em. What has been your highlight of the night? We've been counting those Australian records. We've sort of lost count. We're definitely up to the second hand.
Yeah, I'm thinking around that 7 mark, but honestly, that would be a gamble because we've seen so many of those records been broken in the heats and then again in the finals. So it's hard to keep track of that same record just being smashed and smashed and smashed.
Well, the swimming has been fast. That is a gorgeous sunset, I've got to say, here at the Gold Coast Aquatic Centre. The weather has been incredible here all week. And we've got plenty of swims lined up tonight. And the crowd is pouring in. Alex, you've been here for a couple of night sessions and the action. How have you seen the next wave of swimmers coming through? It's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, it has indeed, Matt. Lucky enough to get in here last night and see that sub-22.50 freestyle from the boys, 18-year-olds there, from Ollie Moclair. So that was pretty special, and some rapid 50 breaststrokes. So it seems like the 50's been added to the Olympic schedule. The kids have noticed that, really taken it on board, and they are going fast, really pushing for that LA 2028.
Well,
50s.
Some more 50 backs you saw there in the program, some 50 frees as well, 50 breaststrokes. So the top 10 swimmers from this morning in each of the age groups made it through to the A finals, the next 10 the B finals. And we finish off tonight with some 800s, 1500s and some medley relays. So mixed medley relays of the different age groups. So we now welcome out the swimmers for the first event tonight. As I said, the A finals up first, and this is the 13 years A final for the boys 100 metres freestyle. So the Australian record there you see on the side of your screen at 50.86, that's for the 14 years. The 13, still by Kyle Chalmers, at 52.29. And in perspective, their fastest qualifier this morning is going to be presented very soon on your screen. Was Lewis Jewell. He swam a time of 54.74, and that was a good, roughly quarter of a second, half a second ahead of his nearest rival. So he's definitely going in the favourite.
It'll be an exciting final for these 13-year-olds. Obviously, the first time they've been added into that age championship program for a very long time. So exciting to see these boys step up at that national level and be able to race here at the Gold Coast Aquatic Centre. We know it can come down to anywhere, especially with these 13-year-olds, but strong in the field this morning was Lewis Jewell from lane 4, the only swimmer in this final tonight to break 55 seconds this morning. But we know that 100 freestyle is that splash and dash, and it's over so quick for these boys.
Take your marks.
So often racing in the first final for the night. As we said, that fastest qualifier, Lewis Jewell. But early stages, they're looking pretty even. Who's going to make that first break?
Yeah, it looks to be the middle of the pool, like you said, Matt. Lewis Jewell rocketing out fast. I'm looking at Liam Blair in the blue cap there as well. But Hunter Bastow, he might get to the wall here first. And it will be 26.06. So the boys are out pretty fast. It's a bit of a blanket field at the moment. I want to say Bastow has about a half a body length on the next competitor, but it is about the back end of this race as well. Let's see what they've got coming home. It is Bastow continuing on here, but look towards Lewis Jewell now in the middle of the pool. He's making a late push here, and it's going to be extremely close, but it looks like it's going to be Jewell getting his hand on the wall first. The fastest qualifier from this morning drops a substantial amount of time, 54.07, and it will be Bastow in that second place, 54.57, and Liam Blair coming in third.
Oh, you really worked that in the last 25 metres. Turned first at the 50, but only just, and really brought it home hard. Or turned second, actually, rather, and brought it home hard. So great swim there for the first night. Geez, he's happy.
He's happy because he has a national title and another gold medal for Lewis Jewell there. Very happy with that result. As those results are official, he will be your gold medalist. Bastow there with the silver medal, and Liam Blair takes the bronze. As we have a look now, this is your 13-year-olds B final for the 100-metre freestyle. What a swim that was. Really swam over the rest of the field, but only in the last 15 metres. Super strong swim from Jewell to take out another national title.
Well, it does go with my theory that the fastest 50 back wins the race. I'm just chalking that up as another tick. It's really important, the back ending of the race, as we now look to the B final. So this is 11 to 20 from this morning in the rankings.
Take your marks.
Off and racing after a very dominant swim and a huge PB there from the first heat, Lewis Jewell. The B final we'll watch and learn, and Kim in lane 4, it looks like, is out well. So is Kerr out in lane 1.
Yeah, the boys are looking pretty strong here. We love to see an outside smoke, so that lane 1 moving forward here, and it is William Kerr who will lead us around in 27.43. As you said, Matt, the B final, really good chance to watch what they did in the A final. That is the bar that they want to hit here. And right now the boys are taking it on. Thomas Grasso closest to us in lane 9, looking pretty solid here as well. Very close qualifying from the heats this morning, so the boys are moving through nicely, but it is all William Kerr at the moment out in lane 1. He is pushing towards the back end of this race. He took it out fast, and he is finished and come home well. And he will take out the B final in a 56.13. Lucio Kim in the middle of the pool, 56.6. And Will Morris to round out the top 3, 56.7. And some really good time drops there from the boys from this morning.
Yeah, dropping over a second there, Kerr. 56.13, a fantastic night swim. And to step up from that heat to final, in that B final, he will take it out. William Kerr, 56.13.
I'm always interested to compare that winning time in the B final with the A final. I see where they would have come, because they will get, he'll get officially 11th place, but it might have actually been 6th. He might have been further up the ranks.
Absolutely, you never know. But it's always interesting to compare that A to B final. But obviously, this is what makes the racing tough, is being able to do it in the morning to get that spot in that A final. That's what you're aiming for. We don't technically just want to win a B final. We want to be in contention for a medal. As we have a look now, these boys are racing for medals. This is your 14-year-olds, 100-metre freestyle, a national title on the line. Ishmael of lane number 4 has been very strong through the championship. So has Tay out of lane 5. Jacob Deere has been very strong, and Thomas Penny from lane number 9. So really, it could come down to anywhere, but my eyes are on Ishmael in lane 4, very strong.
Yeah, and there's about a second and a half roughly separating the whole entire field. So expect this one to be close as well. The first couple of heats, the 13-year-olds, those races were really tight. So these boys are going to have to fire up, get their hand on the wall first. A couple of 53 lows in there. I'm looking at that 14-year-old's title holder from last year. That was a 52.3. So it'd be really good if the boys can get down to that mark.
Take your marks.
And the boys are off and in the water now. Some really good starts from the middle of the pool there. Our fastest qualifiers. Xavier Tay in lane 5 got off the blocks very quickly, but Ishak Ismail in the middle of the pool moving through nicely now. He's really got about half a body length there. He's rocketed out the first 25 metres, and he will take that momentum into this first turn.
Really dominating this field, really strong on that underwater, stayed under longer than anyone else, even though he was half a body length in front. Super long stroke as he comes down to 25 metres to go. It's his race for the taking. He will be getting that gold medal if no one can come through and beat him from here. Ishmael doing a great job. He's a body length on the field here. What a win in this 100 metres freestyle, 52.20. From Ishmael there to take out the gold medal. Tay with the silver medal in that 53.23. Kettle will also get the silver medal due to our visitor, so 53.42. What a swim. 52.20. Alex, flying.
Yeah, that was a cracking swim. He really took that on from the start of the race there. And that wall, he held his underwater so nicely, and he almost got a body length in front just off that turn there. It was a cracking swim, a really good time drop from this morning. Dropped about a second. Left himself with a little bit of room, which you like to see. But it was all Isaac Ishmael in that boys 14-year-old 100-metre free, and didn't he love it at the end?
Absolutely beautiful. So Ishmael will get the gold, Tay with the silver, Kettle with the silver, Najee with the bronze. Due to that visitor, our Aussies get those medals too. So fantastic job from those 4 boys to take home that gold, silver and bronze. As we move now, this is your 14-year-olds B final. A 52.20 they've just watched. So you would think that adrenaline is certainly pumping here for this B final.
Take your marks.
And the boys are off. Great underwater there from lane number 5. Pilbin doing a great job of this 100 metres freestyle, this splash and dash. It's all about whatever you can bring. We saw Ashmael in that heat before really dominate from that first 50 and looking strong. Wilcox in 6, Pilbin in 5 as they come down to that 50-metre turn. Honor in lane 1 holding strong. Pilbin in that first position in that 26.01, holding strong over Wilcox. Right next to him in lane number 6 in that 26.24. And Honor in that third position at the turn, 26.26.
Yeah, I also want to say Nate Brown out in lane 9 had a cracking turn, but it will be Pilbeam at the moment, moving through very nicely. Looking over at Cooper Ravel at the moment, and even in lane 1, Bradley Honor. So it looks like it will be Bradley Honor who moves forward in that fourth part of that race, that 4:25. He just accelerated, had the extra legs there to bring that home, and he will take out that B final, that 54.33. Really good time drops again. 54.5 was Daniel Collins. 54.74 was Boston Wilcox.
Those times getting closer and closer as the swimmers getting faster and faster. Very impressed with that 52.2 in the 14 years A final. and showing some real depth in the 14-year age group. The B final, all the swimmers under 56 seconds, very impressive. So we move now to the next program, the next race on the program, the event 45. It's the girls 13 to 14 years, 200 metres individual medley. So 50 metres of each of the stroke. We start with the butterfly into the backstroke, the all-important breaststroke, which really defines who's going to get to the freestyle first to bring them home. And it really is an advantage to get to that freestyle first. Not a big difference across the field in the freestyle, so often the winner is whoever gets the breaststroke done. And the strong breaststrokers really do come through the field, but it's only 200. You've only got one stroke, one lap of each stroke, and it really almost becomes a bit of a sprint.
It is. That 200 medley is basically a sprint. It's only 50 metres of every stroke, so you really got to give each 50 the best effort that you can. We see those big margins being thrown out in the breaststroke leg, and the lead seems to change around there. Now our top three qualifiers here into this final: Fleming in lane 3, Nixon in 4, and Guthrie in 5. The only swimmers in that 2:27 mark. So very tight from this morning racing. So we'll see what these girls can produce tonight.
There's only 4 seconds separating the whole field, though. So, yes, I agree. There's tenths of a second between those top few. It's going to be fantastic racing, but I think across the board we could see some surprises.
Take your marks.
Off and racing. A little bit of a slow start there from, it looked like Fleming potentially in lane 3. Was with a bit of a slow reaction, but there's still 200 metres to make that up. Nixon in the middle of the pool, really working the butterfly, similar to her swim this morning, and working on those strengths already. The girls starting to separate out as their strengths come through in the different strokes. So in this butterfly leg, Nixon has the advantage. She turns through in a 29.44. Second through was Fleming, 30.5. 10th behind was Charlotte Brown. And then Mulcahy was in 4th. So now into the backstroke and contending with a dark night here. And not a lot to judge themselves off as they go down the pool in the backstroke.
Yeah, she's looking really good here so far. Kiara Nixon looks so comfortable on that butterfly. Maybe that's where she's trying to establish herself in this IM. We're talking about the different skill levels of each individual stroke and their strengths of each swimmer. And Hannah Fleming has had a cracking backstroke leg as well. But it is quite often this breaststroke leg that separates the pack here. And Kiara Nixon is looking pretty strong so far. I dare say Hannah Fleming has made up a little bit of ground here. Also looking to the outside lanes as well. It was Charlotte Brown, who I saw early in that backstroke leg, was moving through. She's holding on to that third position. But it is a battle in the middle of the pool at the moment. Kiara Nixon and Hannah Fleming. And Fleming just getting the better of Nixon at the moment on this breaststroke leg. And this is that critical turn, that transition from breaststroke to freestyle that can make all the difference.
Fleming really doing a great job of that breaststroke leg. She was able to split a 41 there. Nixon that 44, and that's what made the difference there. As we come down to the final 35 metres, Fleming trying to hold on for that lead, but Nixon really fighting her out in this freestyle leg. 25 metres left to swim. Nixon has taken over the lead again over Fleming as they battle down. 15 metres left to swim. They're really fighting for that gold and silver medal here as Nixon touches the wall first in that 2:22.70. Fleming in that 2:23.79. And that third touch from Mulcahy there in that 2:24.81. What a swim for Nixon to take out that win. She fell back in that breaststroke leg, but was able to power home in that first position in that freestyle leg. A fantastic way to finish that 200 individual medley.
Yeah, the look on her face was a mix of pride and relief as she gets to the wall first. Fantastic across all of the disciplines, but just took it out hard in that butterfly. Said, try and catch me. Well, Fleming did, and then she came home with the best freestyle. So she was a good 2 seconds quicker than Fleming in the freestyle, and that was enough to nag the win. So Karen Nixon there, first place, and Fleming Mulcahy Guthrie in for fourth.
There was about a second between them, but I wonder if Hannah Fleming had a better reaction time, that it might have been a bit closer. I don't know, when something's thrown out that little bit, it takes a while to build that back up.
Yeah, she definitely got off the block slow. I think you're only talking tenths of a second at that stage, but as you say, what effect did that have on her in the first 50? You know, some people might panic and then they overrate and slip through the water in the butterfly. That fatigues them. Her freestyle wasn't the best at the end, but she still gave a red-hot go. So we move from the 13 years A final to the 14 years A final, and my eyes in the program immediately go to the centre, lane 4, because, not just because it's lane 4, it's Lucy Ma. She has been on fire across the field. We don't see this often. It makes sense she's in the IM races, but she's been winning backstroke, breaststroke, so many different events.
And this morning she really dominated in that breaststroke section of this 200 IM.
Yeah, she was good in the backstroke.
She was good, but she was great in the breaststroke. She was behind until it came to the breaststroke, and then all of a sudden she was almost 10 metres ahead of the rest of the field. So it was fantastic to watch this morning. I think it will be a battle with all those girls there.
She's jumping up and down, lots of energy for this race. There she is.
Take your marks.
So 14 years, 200 metres individual medley is underway. Lucy Ma, fastest qualifier and off the blocks well. She really dominated the breaststroke this morning, so we know that is going to be a strong leg for her, but she's also an incredible backstroker. So the butterfly leg and Alberton taking them out very quickly, also looking good. Bevern out in lane 9 as they come down to underneath the flags. And it is Alberton who touches first, 8/100ths in front of Bevern. And then Lim in 6th, Lucy Ma in 4th. 5th through was Harbour out in lane 1, and then Sophia Neo 6th in lane 3. Now into the backstroke, we're really starting to level that back out again. So that early lead that Alberton had has now evaporated into the backstroke, and Lucy Ma has come through. I think this morning she took it quite easy in the backstroke. Tonight, she's hitting hard on the back and on the breast. This is going to be a very strong swim because she's in the lead already, 105.31. Second through Lim, and then Alberton.
Yeah, Lucy Ma really making it known there. And she might have taken it easy this morning. She may have had some direction from her coach to work it a little bit harder tonight to get that time drop. She's making her way down in that breaststroke leg and getting a few body lengths now. I was looking at Charlotte Lim in that backstroke and she had a cracking underwater. I'm just wondering if she's going to get her hand on the wall first and utilise those underwaters again in that breaststroke to freestyle. Will she be able to put in a great last leg? But it is Lucy Ma at the moment coming down to that breaststroke to freestyle turn. He absolutely has dominated that breaststroke leg with a 39 split. The rest of the field is trying to catch up to her now, and Charlotte Lim in that second place, but it is Lucy Ma who's made her way to the top of the field. She's looking pretty good coming down to this last 25 metres. She's got a couple of body lengths now. And gee, she was looking strong in that backstroke leg. That's where it really made the difference. And it will be Lucy Ma who will pick up this national championship. But how far is she going to go as she comes to the wall now and will touch in a 2:18.28. And it is the swimmer from Miami in Roxanne Alberton who will get the second place, 2:20.4. That was a cracking race for that silver and bronze medal, with Charlotte Lim coming in at 2:20.46.
Absolutely. Lucy Ma steals away another age championship. That was a fantastic swim in that 2:18.28. Alberton in that second position, that 2:20.40. She will take home the silver, and Charlotte Lim will take home the bronze medal in that 2:20.46. But look at that battle for that second and third position. 0.06, not much in it at all.
Well, we were expecting the breaststroke to be the leg that would decide the winner, and Lucy Ma swam 39.3, put that in comparison, the next closest was basically 3 seconds slower. So no one else broke 42. So an incredible breaststroke leg, and we've been talking about the importance of that part of the individual medley program. She obviously does a lot of work. She's had success individually in the breaststroke. And now, speaking of, we move to a 200 breaststroke. The boys 17 to 18 years. And a big name, literally and figuratively, Machirondo is our fastest qualifier from the New Zealand club. He's a visitor, so we will have to take that into consideration with the medals. But also, Regan Cheng right next to him is also a visitor. So fastest 2 qualifiers, not eligible for fastest Australian. So potentially 5 medals going out tonight, depending on how we go.
It's a very tight final here in this one. Macha Honda has just been so strong through this meet. Our visitor, our 17-year-old, that 2:18.53 this morning. Really classy swim. Really put it to those 18-year-olds as well. Very close to being the fastest qualifier.
He pushed it hard this morning. He was racing all the way to the end. So.
But he wasn't out in front on the first 100. He came through in that second 100. He really built through. Yeah, it was fantastic to watch. Cheng obviously will be strong in lane 5, as well as Harry Heath in lane 3, and also Tancred out of lane 2.
Take your marks.
So off and racing. The boys 17 to 18 years, 200 metres breaststroke, 4 laps. We speak about the importance of the 3rd lap in these 200-metre events. But there is nothing like going out strong and saying, come get me. And it's almost what it looks like at this stage. Very strong out in front, both of our visitors, Cheng and Machirondo. As they come down, they're almost going to touch identical. It's only about 1/10 of a second in it. In fact, it's pretty close across the field. Machirondo in first, then Cheng. 3rd through was Heath. 4th, Tancred. 5, Kelso. And now we see our visitor. So Ariel Machirondo with that really nice big glide forward in the breaststroke has got his place out front. Now he's going to try and extend it. Especially, I feel, in this next 50. He touches first at the 100 at 105.85. 2nd through Cheng. Then Harry has made it up to 3rd. Tancred in 4th. 5th, Algate. And then Kelso.
You can see just how much effort Machirondo is putting into that breaststroke. And that seems to be the difference point at this part of the race. Cheng is going to have to seriously lift. But the lift actually coming through Heath, as was called pre-race. Tancred up for the challenge. Now Cheng starting to respond, and we can't forget Algate, as was called, but the lead here sitting still in lane 4. The last lap, though, the fastest through, Algate 34.73, in fact. He's chasing down our lead with Machirondo.
He is chasing him down hard. That's a good pick. About half a second quicker than Machirondo, but maybe our visitors left a little bit in the tank. We're coming down. We've got about 15 metres to swim. It is absolutely neck and neck. I think the momentum might be on Algate's side. Coming down under the flags. I think he's got him. He does. So, with a big stretch onto the wall and a 2:16.36, Jacob Algate takes out the national title. 2nd onto the wall, Machirondo. Our visitor 3rd onto the wall, Cheng. 4th place, Harry Heath, but 2nd of Australian. And James Kelso 5th, but will get bronze for 3rd in the Australian. So 5 medals are being handed out. And quite a swim there, especially in those dying stages to get up in front. So his 2 splits at the end there in the 34s. And no one else was able to match that. The closest competitor was Cheng with a 35, but everyone else in 36 seconds to go through. So he really earned that win.
What a swim that was, that 2:16.36, and what a win from lane 7 as well. Machiro Honda in that second position, that 2:17.06. He will take the silver. Chen with the bronze in that 2:17.37. But like you said, Welshie, Heath will score the silver medal and Tancred will score the bronze. So 5 of those boys winning medals tonight. As we head into the next event on the program, this is your 18-year-olds A final of the 200 breaststroke. And Skipper looked really good this morning from lane 3 he's swimming out of. But Cook really powered through in his heat to dominate his own heat. So that was fantastic to watch. Obviously, watch out for our visitor in lane number 5, Story. But there's some very strong breaststrokers in this race. And that 2:16.89 from Ethan Cook sitting at the top of the field there.
Yeah, he's got almost a 2-second buffer from Flynn Skipper and Jacob Story next to him. Thomas Sutherland is right in the mix too. He's Flynn Skipper's teammate there at St Andrews. So this is going to be obviously the 200 breaststroke, similar from the 17 final we just saw, but it's going to be a bit of a different complexion. Bit more power, bit more speed. And let's see what they can do, especially in those, the last 100 is just so important to put it together.
Well, we saw that just before. That last 100 was untouched by anyone else. So we'll see what these boys can produce in the 18-year-olds.
Take your marks.
Underway for the A final, the 18 years, 200 metres at breaststroke. And nice start across the field. Lane 5, Jacob Story probably with the best of it. Good reaction and really nice through under the water with his split stroke. Also looking good, Thomas Sutherland in lane 6. And the two of them look to be vying for the honours of getting down to the wall first, depending on the timing. In fact, it is Story who gets there first, 10th of a second ahead of Sutherland. Flynn Skipper in for 3rd, and then Ethan Cook, fastest qualifier, in for 4th. So already this is a battle of 3, but don't count out Cook. We said the second 100 was the most important, and wait for fireworks if he comes through to take the lead. And already he looks like he's just starting to edge back on them.
What was so key on that 17 years final was the stroke rate change that we saw from our winner to come over the top of Machiro Honda. So sometimes in the 200 breaststroke, you have 350s of excellent technique, and the final 50, you almost double your stroke count in order to get on the wall first. And as we say this, here comes Ethan Cook in lane 4.
Yeah, Ethan Cook has really lifted that stroke rating, building through, starting off with that nice long glide, and each stroke just turning the dial up. He's going to come through and touch second, but only 10ths of a second in it to Story. So Jacob Story still in the lead at this stage. Thomas Sutherland, he doesn't want to be left behind. And that seems to be what's happening with Flynn Skipper. This hasn't got enough to keep up with these first two. They are pushing away and further away. So it's Cook and Story. The rating has come up really high now. So Cook in second place, but he wants to be in first. It's neck and neck. Who's going to get to the wall? I think Cook is going to get there. No, Story gets there by 7/100ths of a second. Wow, that was a good finish. He held on. 2:14.41 versus 2:14.48. That is very, very close. Sutherland in for 3rd. 2:17.07. And Flynn Skipper in for 4th. Obviously, with that winner from the victory, Flynn will inherit 3rd place, a bronze for Aussies.
So Cook was 4th at the 50, 4th at the 100, 2nd at the 150 mark. I just felt like if he started a little bit earlier...
Look at it there, his head's in front.
It is.
But just a much better finish from Story. Had more momentum. And longer fingernails or something. He got to that wall just that much better.
I thought if Cook had started his back end a little bit earlier than that 50, I think Story wouldn't have seen him on the wall and then
he let them
battled
get
it.
away.
He did.
In the probably first or second 50, let them get away a bit. He had a storming last two 50s, 34, but the others were just that little bit quicker on the way out. In fact, it was his first 50. He went out in a 31 and everyone else was out in a 30. So he lost a second in the first 50. Did that help him come home faster? And it was never going to happen? We'll never know, but it just goes to show that pacing, all important.
As we move along to the next event on the program, this is your girls' 17 years 200-meter backstroke, one of my favorite events on the program. I think with the backstroke, especially the 200, there's so much room for tactics and to get your pacing right, but also for the race to change. It's not set in stone from that first 50, and that's what I love about the 200. Now, our visitor was the fastest this morning by 2.5 seconds. Arnell from USA takes that number 4 spot. Kuroshi in 5 there, and Quayle with that lane number 3. I mean, I want to say it's going to come down to the middle lanes again.
Not very controversial.
I know, I want to be, but
I mean, they rank, you do realise they rank them that way. The fastest are in the middle.
I know, but Arnell had great skills. When you watch tonight, she really utilised her underwater more than anyone else in that field.
Yeah.
And that's what wins the 200s, I think. The skills are super important.
I think the consistency of it, you know, you can't let them go in a 50 and then go, oh, I'll just come back later, or you can't sort of go out hard and go, oh, I've done enough work now. You need to be consistent. You need to keep plugging away. And the underwaters will make a big difference, that is for sure.
Take your marks.
So underway for the 17 years 200 metres backstroke. This A final really setting a great standard in the future for women's backstroke here in Australia. And you can see the depth across the field. Absolute line across. Trying to make a bit of a move, though, is Karachi in lane 5. Also Audrey Mack out in lane 9. So now Arnell starting to come through. In fact, she turns first. So really built onto that wall strong with a 31.59. Then Karachi. Third through was Ava Gasquet in lane 0. And then the absolute polar opposite of the pool was Audrey Mack coming in 4th. So some outside smokers on both sides and action in the middle, just as MC Bond predicted.
Roshi with the better underwater then on that first turn, ever so slightly stuck on that lane rope on that left side. She just takes that turn in front slightly from Arnell there, turning through in that 105.78. Arnell, our visitor, 105.84. Much better underwater.
Much better. Exactly as you said, Karachi was a good 10 metres off the wall, where Arnell was about 5. Arnell's winning it in the swim. Arnell's able to catch back up to her, and almost what Steinman and Quayle are doing in 6 and 3 respectively. But Arnell is winning the swim. Karachi is winning the skills. And when it comes down to the wall, it's going to be very, very even. So now onto the turn. Very little between them. Only about half a second, and it's Arnell on first. Karachi with a long underwater, but I don't think it was enough to match the pace that Arnell is able to do in the swim.
She is flying through this last 25 metres. They were neck and neck, but that last wall, she really dominated off and has powered through into that first position, and she's holding strong. She's a body length on the field. Hiroshi holding on for that second, but those girls are moving through for that third position. Arnell will be our winner in that 2:14.59. Hiroshi with a second hand on the wall, that 2:16.79. Quayle in 3, taking out the bronze in that 2:17.26. Steinman 4th onto the wall, but will take home that silver medal in that 2:17.45. And Crothers will get the bronze in that 2:20.07. What a race that turned out to be. Hiroshi with the better skills, but Arnell was able to outswim her in that 2:14.59 to take home that gold medal.
Yeah, she just never let her go. It would have been very easy for Karachi to get in front on one of the underwaters, and then for Arnell just to go, well, she's in front, can't do anything about it now, but she did it the hard way. She had to swim past her, and she did that very, very well. She came back, her last 50, a 33.79. Only two other swimmers in the field went a 34, and she was a 33. Everyone else a 35. That really shows the dominance of the back end of her 200 backstroke. So now moving into the 18 years A final.
What a field we have once again as we get ready here for the 18-year-olds. In lane 4, Isabel Sheldrick, we have from Griffith University. She only made that transition in the last 6 months. She's moved over from Western Australia to swim at Griffith University and their incredible program they got there. Right next to her, though, will be her teammate, newly minted teammate in Ivy Miller. And it's clear from this event that Griffith Uni putting a really good backstroke program together. I mean, that comes as a surprise to absolutely nobody.
Sheldrick, that only swimmer under that 2:20 mark this morning, that 2:18.78, so almost 2 seconds on the rest of the field. So she was very strong this morning. You can see her on the screen there right now. She was your fastest time this morning. But look out for Zoe Amundsen out in lane number 6. She will be quite strong from Nudgee College. Obviously, this morning, these girls some of them don't have to put their best times out there. They save a bit in the tank, so that changes that lane position. But really, it's important in those backstroke legs, especially to be in those centre lanes, because there is not that many opportunities to be able to see everyone else in the field.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anna Munson and Sheldrick, the two representatives at the World Junior Championships last year, so they know exactly how each other race, so we'll see how they stack up. Very close to each other. The opportunity, though, for gold here. 18 years, 200-metre backstroke.
Take your marks.
Clean start as we make our way into this 4-lap competition. Sitting there with Sheldrick, she's known for that fantastic underwater work. Griffith University athlete making her way through this first 25 metres, but Zoe Amundsen, the best of the starters, and moving through on the top of the water here is Jessica Wilson of Melbourne Vic Centre.
Great start from the middle of the pool. Some really fast reaction times there. Kennedy from lane 9 was actually the fastest, 0.54. As those middle lanes are making their move now, Sheldrick turns through first in that first 50, 31.22. Amundsen in that second position, 31.49, and Miller in that third position on that first wall, 31.55. They're looking very centred in this lane. Perfect backstroke position. You don't want to be hitting that lane rope, especially in this 200 backstroke. Those middle lanes are really firing here as Wilson's looking strong out of lane number 3. But it is Sheldrick taking them through at this 100-metre turn just in front of Amundsen there in that 104.83 and 104.92. Not much in it at all with those top two competitors. Miller there in that third position, 105.58, and Wilson in that 106.17. As Amundsen's trying to make her move in this third 50, Sheldrick is staying strong in lane number 4. Amundsen has a bit of an advantage being a lane away from Sheldrick, so she can move without Sheldrick knowing that she's out there in that lane number 6. But she is holding strong, Sheldrick. And Miller is trying to make a move also in this third 50 as they take that last turn there. It is Sheldrick still in front in that 138.71, just in front of Amundsen, that 139.01. And Miller very strong on that third 50.
They bring in the legs now. This is when it's going to count. Sheldrick, Amundsen, and Miller putting her hand in contention. She's storming home is Ivy Miller in lane 5. She might run out of time here. The battle now with Amundsen as she kicks through. It is Amundsen out in lane 6, just holding on to the wall. It goes that way. 2:13.14. They made us work for it there. 2:13.38 for Silver. Miller rounding out the top 3, 0.02 behind. On the screen, a very well-deserved gold medalist, Zoe Amundsen, taking it for Nudgee College.
How good was that from the 3 girls out in front there? Pretty rare to see such a close race and a bit of a back-and-forth battle there but it was a Munson who just held on towards the end there. And Em, I wonder, in the backstroke, can you see the people next to you? Do you know where you are? Or it's just you are going hell for leather and you just want to get your hand on the ball first?
If you're in front, you can slightly see a bit of that splash from the lane next to you, but you wouldn't be able to see, Sheldrick wouldn't have been able to see Amundsen unless she looked at that screen at that turn. So it's very hard to see over past the lane. So Zoe Amundsen did a great job in that lane 6 to sneakily take that win. And what a win that was. So tight between that second and third position. Only 0.02 between Sheldrick and Miller, who came home very strong on that last 50, but had a burner of a third 50, and that's what caught her up to that front pack there. As we move along to the next event on the program, this is your boys' 15 years 100-metre backstroke final. We have an A final and a B final, but Bryce Krause looks very strong in this race. That 58.01 this morning, so almost a second on the field here. Simmons in 5, your second fastest qualifier in that 58.91.
I mean, you called the action last year. This was one of the events of the meet, as we saw the 16-year-old at the time, Henry Allen, absolutely obliterate the record books, 53.73 his time to take the 16 years title. Lucas Dunn won the 15 years, of course, for Knox Bimble, 57.11. I expect we should see something a bit lower than 57. I'd love to see something around the 56 to maybe even 56 low.
Yeah, that'd be good to see that. Pretty quiet from the boys this morning, and those, a few people under the 60-second mark. Potentially holding a little bit back tonight. Looking at the title holder from last year, for the 15 years, is Lucas Dunn at 57.1. So hopefully we can get boys down to around that mark. Even a sub 57 would be pretty special.
We know Thomas Simon's coming in already having won gold, same as Bryce Krause for this championship. So monkey off the back, so to say, as they get into the water here. 2 laps ahead of them for this 15 years 100 backstroke title. Bryce Krause, the 50-metre backstroke record holder for the 14 years boys. He's up here for the 2 laps. Away cleanly in the 15 years boys 100 backstroke final. You can see the skill in the middle of the pools. It sits on your screen. Challenging them though, Whelm out in 3, but here comes Krause, crashing the pack through the first 25.
Yeah, he absolutely dominated that start. But now I'm also looking at Timothy Whelm out there in lane number 3, who's moving forward as Krause seems to be having a little battle with the lane rope there. And that is the tough thing about swimming outside. The night sky is pretty dark at the moment, but he has dominated that underwater, and he will pop out right on the 15, and he is in front. If he can just stay towards the middle of the lane, I'm pretty sure he has this covered. I'm also looking at Thomas Simmons there in lane 5, who's had a cracking turn as well, moving into that second place position, but it is Bryce Krause. He's coming down to the wall now with 5 metres to go, but even a late push from Thomas Simmons, he's not going to get there. It's going to be Krause, and that is a fantastic time, 56.85. Thomas Simons coming in second there with a 57.2. He absolutely nailed that wall, gave Krause a really good push towards the end there. Timothy Whelm coming in that third place with a 57.7. It's really good to see the boys under that 58-second mark.
Like you said, a cracking start from Bryce Krause. I thought the only thing that let him down, he hit that lane rope on that first 50, and on that second 50, he got caught on that lane rope again, moved away from it, but almost moved away to the other side of the lane. So probably swam more than 100 metres tonight, but a fantastic time for him, that 56.85, and takes home another gold medal at this age championships. Thomas Simmons gets the silver medal in that 57.20, and Timothy Whelm takes home that bronze in that 57.70. As we move along now, this is your 15 years B final. Noah Kemp, your fastest qualifier in lane number 4. He's had a time of 101.08 this morning, but all these boys sat at 108. There's only 0.8 between all of these swimmers here from this morning's results, so this should be a very tight final.
Could almost count unlucky to miss that A final. Noah Kemp just outside the time that it took. His opportunity for redemption here. And he's underway. The B finalists here of the 15 years Cranbrook, represented through Kemp. That is lane 4. Good look across the field, though. A good representation from across the country. Charlie Potts in lane 8 for Valley Aquatic. Trying to battle with the best of them, but the best of the starts, most likely Ashcroft in 1.
Yeah, we love that outside smoke lane, and it is Ashcroft right out there in lane 1 that's fired off the blocks early. But the boys are now starting to catch up, and even out there in lane 9, Eugene Lee from Brisbane Grammar. Who's going to have the best turn here? You've got to hold those underwaters and really maximise that. And it is Noah Kemp in the middle of the pool that looked to have the best turn of the bunch. They turned into 28 mid. Let's see what they can come home in. But it is Tay Ashcroft from Miami out there in lane 1 who looks to be holding on with 15 metres to go.
Looking strong and powering home to the wall, but he's battling it out with Kemp, but he's got the lead in this B final, and he will take it out in a 59.76. A fantastic swim from Ashcroft out of lane number 1. Kemp with that second position on that wall, that 0043. And Miles there with that third touch on the wall, 0077. Ashcroft, your winner of the B final, 59.76. Great swim from Miami athlete.
I love that you can just commit to the race like that, like we saw from Ashcroft. He had his chance in the B final, and he absolutely took it, in fact, under the minute mark for the very first time, and doing so comfortably, 0.24 of a second under that mark. So that's what we love to see about our B finals, giving these athletes experience of stepping up the night time. And I'm sure Ashcroft will take that not only through the rest of the championships, but also in the next step of his career. Next step for tonight, though, is here, the 16 years A final. Again, some fast swimming to be expected, and they would have just seen that 56 dropped from the 15-year-olds. The challenge has been set.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're moving through the finals thick and fast here tonight. Rapid fire, and that's exactly right. When you are in the marshalling rooms, you get a chance to hear what's going on. They sometimes have TVs in there as well, so you can see the results from the previous heats. I'm sure these boys, being the 16-year-olds, aren't too stressed, but it is always good. A little bit of a kick on the bum when you see the younger swimmers throwing down some pretty fast times.
Lucas Dunn, who was the winner last year as a 15-year-old, is swimming out of lane number 6. He did a time of 57.67 this morning, so quite the battle with those top 4 positions, all sitting at that 57 mark, but really not much in it at all. Only 2 seconds for the entire field. So Allen was your fastest qualifier in that 57.47. So our visitor in lane 5, was very fast this morning, as we have a look to see what these boys can produce in this 16-year-old final of the 100 metres backstroke.
Crowd was fired up before this. Got a lot of support for the lads in this final. It's always good to have that support, give you a bit of a lift.
Yeah, Teddy Chan seems to be a bit of a crowd favourite here, the Singaporean in lane 5.
Take your marks.
So let's see how the fan favourites favour here in this 16 years A final. They make their way through the first 15. You can see Chan really trying to assert the dominance. Allen with an answer, and the defending champion in Dunn with some work to do out of lane 6. Lane 3 here is Hagabot. As they come down to the turn, it's really anyone's race.
Yeah, it is. Look at this. We've got about 4 or 5 of the boys who are all going to turn around the same time. It's all going to come down to the skills. Who's going to have the better turn here? And I want to say it's Lucas Dunn, the defending title holder, who's moving through the field nicely. He absolutely rocketed off that wall. But right next to Lucas Dunn is Rowan Shipsides, who's making a bit of a play here. But right now, there is not much separating the top 5 swimmers. This is going to be a cracking finish as they come down to the wall. I want to say Dunn, but I can see Isaac Allen over there as well. And it will be Isaac Allen who gets his hand on the wall first. Had the better of the lunges with a 56.73. Lucas Dunn with that 57.06.
And Ted Chan from Singapore with a 57.09. Ethan Hagabart with that 4th place will get the bronze medal as 3rd Australian, 57.21. Wow, that was a good finish.
Like you said, Alex, Dunn had that amazing turn. He really powered through in that underwater to take over that lead, and he was able to hold it, but only for 35 metres because Allen just came through and dominated just at the flags, and he was able to get his hand on the wall and take that gold medal in that 56.73. What a swim that was. Great swim from Lucas Dunn, that 57.06, and Chan with that bronze medal, that 57.09 for our visitor from Singapore. The Singapore club very strong here at the Age Championships. Haggelbert will get the bronze medal due to our visitor, so that 57.21 for a bronze medal.
Wow, it's unreal that the lane rope is almost the main character this evening. It keeps coming in and playing with people's races, but I guess that's why we love being here at the Gold Coast Aquatic Centre, adding an extra element to the swims these athletes have to contend with. Let's see what our B finalists have in store for us.
Take your marks.
A head off here in the B final, the 16 years variety of the 100 backstroke. We're sitting here with Darcy Davis, in fact, from Cruise, not choosing the fluorescent orange cap for Cruise, but cruising through the opening 25 metres with Martin for company.
Yeah, he does look good there. It was even Bryce Easton out in lane 7 who had probably one of the better starts as he looks to move forward now. Like we saw in the race before, the field is very even coming into that 50-metre mark, so it'll be about utilising this turn and these underwaters. I'm going to say it was Jack Martin over there in lane 3, or maybe even Darcy Davis in lane 4, our fastest qualifier for this final, who's starting to move through now, looking very comfortable. Fantastic technique there, nice long strokes with a still head. Moving forward now, the rest of the field tries to catch up, and a late play out of lane 1. Joseph Bridgman, but it will be the middle of the pool. Darcy Davis in a 58.45. Hamish Jackson, 58.79.
I don't know if you noticed, Alex, but he had quite a long stroke. His stroke rate was a lot lower than Jackson right next to him in that lane number 5. So really has a long and defined stroke. Fantastic to see that. Take out that B final in that 58.45. Great swim from Jackson there, that 58.79. And Bridgman with that third touch in that B final in that 59.54. As we move along to the next event on the program, your girls 15 years, 400 metres individual medley.
Field stacked once again, as we have a really good representation from some of the clubs that have made a massive impact on competition thus far. Rocky City with 2 in this final. Wyeth will swim out of lane 4. Matthews in 9. You can see her on the screen currently. Melbourne Vic Centre with our athlete on the screen, Taylor Miller. 5:05.40 the time through for Wyeth, who'll swim from 4 this morning. That is an impressive time. Heidi Schumack won it last year in a 4:52.35. So with the 400 IM especially, it's one of those really tough events to double up on the one day.
It is. It's a big double in one day, but these girls have shown that they're very strong and being able to do this very well. So we know in that individual medley, especially in the 400, that breaststroke makes a big difference. So we'll see if anyone can take it out in that fly and backstroke to get as far away from those breaststrokers in before that breaststroke leg comes up and they try to make their moves. And that freestyle is just about holding that race together.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough one with the 400 IM. As we saw over the last couple of days, swimmers are going to play to their strengths here. They'll be under their guidance from their coach. Might be start to see some separation around that backstroke, breaststroke mark, I'd say.
So it's up for the athletes now to determine how the race plays out. Wyeth enters as a heavy favourite, having had a fantastic campaign through the early days. Lim on your screen as we work through the first 25 metres. You can see a whole bunch of strength already showing through this opening lap. The best of the starts looks to be striking out in lane 3, in fact. But as I say that, we can see it's Matthews, in fact, leading us out as she did this morning. 29.56, a very swift opening 50.
Yeah, she's looking really good there and maybe throwing down the gauntlet. Be a little bit weaker in the rest of the strokes, but she's looking so good over this first 100 metres of this butterfly. And training partner is in lane 4, Mackenzie White, who's starting to move through now. So it is the girls from Rocky City out in front at the moment working this butterfly leg. And it is White starting to move through now. We do have a long race to go. We've got 100 metres of each of our strokes here. So we've got butterfly to the backstroke. But it is Annalise Matthews who will lead us through that first 100 metres in a 104.2. Training partner Mackenzie White, 104.9. And let's see whether the lead will change, whether the swimmers will start to work their strengths. It might be the backstroke or it might be the breaststroke. At the moment, Mackenzie White and her training partner Annalise Matthews from Rocky City really taking it to the rest of the field here. As they're coming down to that 150 metres, halfway point of the backstroke race. It is Annalise Matthews, and the girls have started to separate themselves from the rest of the field here. To think how many times in training they would have gone up against each other. They've done all the reps all year, probably looking at each other in the same pool from Rocky City. Starting to slow down a little bit in the stroke rate there, Mackenzie White. Maybe feeling a little bit of the burn there.
It's no massive surprise, Alex, to see these two athletes out the front. Matthews, the 200 fly champion from day 2. White in that final as well as the 400 freestyle. So the battle now becomes for Matthew. Can she hold on to Mackenzie White, who's well and truly separated herself? But the both of them have about 8 metres to the silver medal or the bronze medal position. 221.42 through the opening 200 metres. We're looking around that 450 mark low, depending on how they can attack this breaststroke. As we look through the field, though, the charge starting to come from Miller out in lane 8. And just as we say that, we can see the great cap from lane 3 representing Somerset. That is Strachan trying to make an imposition on the two Rocky City athletes. It wouldn't be the first time this meet where we've seen Rocky City on the podium in multiple times in one event. But White now with the challenge of leading the race at the 150 to swim. What a 50 here by Somerset out in lane 3. 40.22. That's 6 seconds faster than our lead swimmer.
Yeah, that was an absolutely cracking swim, and you do see this quite often in the IM. It is the breaststroke leg that tends to separate the rest of the field. One of the harder transitions is that breaststroke to a freestyle leg. So we'll see what Chelsea Strawn has out there in lane 3. She has absolutely crushed this breaststroke leg, so she's swimming to her strengths, very patient at the start of the race, and now she is moving forward and putting her hand up to say, I want to take this out.
Well, she's doing exactly that. What a great breaststroke component of this 400 IM. She touches first by a good 4 seconds in front of Wyeth. Well, Lim and then Wyeth. So fantastic strength in the breaststroke. Swum 40 points. So 40.2 and 40.5. Most of the other field couldn't break 44. And really showing that dominance. So with that huge advantage now coming down with 50 metres to swim as she makes her final turn. So first through Strawn, Lim holding on to second. Wyeth then Whiting. And yet again, the individual medley shows up the strength and importance of the breaststroke, but also a fantastic spectacle to watch. 15 metres, and she must be feeling amazing. She looks to the side and sees absolutely no one. She knows she's done it. She comes down with a very casual touch to touch in a 4:58.79. Lim under 5 minutes, that's right. 5:02.68 for Lim, 5:03.89 for Wyeth. And Whiting in for fourth. and helps in for 5th. So fantastic battle in the 400 AM. We knew that was going to play out, but when it's as dominant as that, it still highlights just how strong the breaststroke needs to be and the benefits of.
Yeah, sticks its hand up again, the old breaststroke leg, and kind of proves to be the difference maker in these IM races, especially in those 4 IMs where it is that 100 metres of it, not just the one lap.
I mean, it's tempting just to just say, look, just race the breaststroke and then we'll work out the thing there. But, you know, it's how they swim the butterfly. How much energy does it sap from them? You know, again, how do they swim the backstroke? There's a lot to it. It's not just the breaststroke. So some very excited fans watching Chelsea Strawn come out of the water. So results there official for the girls' 15 years 400 individual medley.
Just want to point out, I know it's been said to death already, the 120 breaststroke split, that is world class. You're looking to the very best in the world to beat that. I think our leader, Summer McIntosh, the best in the world, only splits 114 in the breaststroke. So to see Strawn at 15 years of age splitting 120, it's world class.
Yeah, a lot of the others were struggling to get under 130. She was 120 and a bit. So very impressive. As we move forward to the 16 years 400 IM, Heidi Schumack. She had a great swim this morning. Fastest qualifier through, Eloise McClellan. Just a second behind her. The only 2 girls, so lanes 4 and lane 5, Schumack and McClellan, the only 2 girls underneath the 5-minute mark. We saw the 15 years winner break it. Well, they swam, both the girls swam that this morning, so expect an even faster time and a few to join them as well. Ostapenko just over the 5-minute mark, 5:00.88 she was this morning. Reyes will be in the mix. Lee, Greater X, Dobby, Donnellan, Larkin and Hennessy rounding out the field. But as usual, we look for the breaststroke leg and we look to those middle lanes and capitalising on their heat swims from this morning.
Take your marks.
Underway is our 16 years A final for the 400 metres individual medley. Heidi Schumack not only racing from 4, but the defending champion. As Matt pointed out, she looked exceptionally comfortable this morning, almost leaving a bit in the tank for the freestyle. We've seen her in action, the breaststroke, the butterfly, and as well the backstroke, where she was 101 in that 100 to take the gold medal. That's not really a common double, the 100 backstroke to the 400 IM, just showing the class it is. And she leads us through 29.34, an impressive opening 50. We keep an eye on the clock as well. Sitting second early on was Lee McClellan, rounding out the top 3.
A very high butterfly stroke. She comes out of the water very high. Often the coaches talk about just keeping that low butterfly stroke, don't overdo it. But she's so rhythmic and flowing in the stroke. She makes it work for her. On the wall with a full stroke, 103.13, 2 seconds. Oh, a second and a half, I guess you'd say, in front of Reyes, 2 seconds in front of McClellan. Lee back into 4th, and then Ostapenko in 5th. So onto this backstroke leg, and if anything, she's extending that lead she gained in the butterfly. She was the only swimmer in the butterfly to split under 29 in the first lap. She was the only swimmer in the butterfly to split under 34 in the second lap. And now in the backstroke, she's pushed out to an even greater lead. She split 36 in that lap. The rest around her in the 38s and 39s. So again, she dominates each one of these components of the 400 metres individual medley. And doesn't look like she's going to hold back.
The Australian record currently sitting with Kaylee McEwen, 4:39.14. We want to see her turn around here in the 2:14 to 2:18 range, knowing how strong her breaststroke is. We're right on that pace as we turn through 2:15.61, so pretty much smack bang in the middle. 4:39.14 is an exceptionally fast swim by Kaylee McEwen, but we could, we'll keep an eye on the time. 4:39, the time to watch.
Yeah, Schumacher there with really even splits over that backstroke, a pair of 36 lows. Eloise McLennan moving through that as well after being a little bit behind after the butterfly. But it is Heidi Schumacher. She is the title holder from last year in that 15 years age group, so she is looking to keep that title for this year in the 16 years. And so far, it is all Heidi Schumacher as she approaches that first lap of the breaststroke. Eloise McLennan moving through nicely as well. Splitting around the same, so the distance hasn't really changed here. Eloise McLennan wants to try and make a bit of a move. It's going to have to be soon. But it looks like Heidi Schumacher looking so strong and dominant in this 400 IM. This breaststroke leg looks nice and smooth out in front, not overrating, holding a lot of water, which is what you love to see in that breaststroke. As she's coming down towards that penultimate turn, the breaststroke to freestyle change. It looks to be all Schumacher at the moment.
Yeah, it looks good with 100 metres to go in this 400 IM. So she turns in a 3:38. She's got about a 6-second lead. It was almost an identical breaststroke leg, Schumacher to McClellan, but because of the enormous lead that Schumacher had gained in the butterfly and backstroke, McClellan just wasn't able to do anything to match her. So nice little battle for third. Schumacher back to McClellan, and Ostapenko and Reyes fighting it out. They're only about a second apart. So we'll keep an eye on those positions and see if Reyes can come back at Ostapenko, but it's Schumacher the whole way. Every single split she's done has been faster. In fact, the only one that hasn't been has been McClellan. She's storming home in the freestyle. She just took 2 seconds out of Schumacher. The problem is she had 6 up her sleeve. So Schumacher down to the touch. She's going to win comfortably, not quite as much as she was before, but a 4:47.9. That is a very strong time, a 4:50.8 for McClellan. Third home in a 4:56.50 was Ostapenko, and Reyes in for fourth.
An impressive result there. Under the Junior Pan Pacific qualifying time as well. 4:47 the time, 4:52.08 the time to qualify. She's pretty stoked with that one.
Need some good representation from the Sydney swimmers, New South Wales swimmers. But yeah, that was a dominant performance there. Really set the race up well from the start. Looked so strong in that butterfly. Then really hit that gap in the backstroke. And as you said, Will, had a really good backstroke swim earlier in this meet. So it was always going to be the way that she was going to look to extend that lead, and just held on in the breaststroke. Had some really even splitting throughout the race. Was able to save a little bit coming home, a little bit of adrenaline there to come home in that 33.95. But the job was already done there from Heidi Schumacher. She exits the water now. Looking pretty tired. As you would be after a 400 IM, I'd say.
You really would. And she really put it into that first half of the race, so she had to carry that fatigue a lot longer. Those who built it around in a slightly different boat. But what a great result there in the 16 years 400 individual medley. And we look forward to the boys' 13 years 50 backstroke coming up. You can see the list of events. Plenty more action here at the Gold Coast Aquatic Centre. Don't go anywhere on 9 Now. We'll be back straight after this break.
Gold Rush on the Gold Coast continues as we turn to the pool for our next event. This is the boys 13 years 50-metre backstroke. Thanks for joining us once again on Nine's Wide World of Sports for the exclusive coverage of the 2026 Australian Age Championships. Matt, 50 metres backstroke, close to your heart as we get ready to meet some of the very best 13-year-olds in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. We see them walking out from the marshalling room. The 50s start obviously from the other end, and they walk these swimmers behind the stadium to up there. They actually meet up in the gym. You can actually see the weights from here, so they don't think they do a workout before they come out, but they come out this end and prepare themselves for the race, get presented to the crowd. 50 back, it is a lot about the skills. We'll see them obviously do that backstroke start with the backstroke ledge, dive back into the water, a lot of butterfly kicks up. They must surface before the 15 metres with their head and then finish on their back at the end. So very leg dominant this race. The trick really to a good 50 backstroke is have a very strong kick and very fast arms. Don't have to hold the water massively. It's up there in the priorities, but not a top priority. Just fast arms and very powerful legs.
I like the secret you shared earlier today, Matt. If you want to be good at the 50, swim fast.
Sometimes it's as simple as that.
Well, let's see who'll swim fastest here. The boys, 13-year-olds, 50 backstroke, compete for a national title or a gold medal in Hatchett's case out of 4 for USA. Long hold, but they're off safely here as we make our way down this one lap. Up quickly, Basto out of lane 8, but you can see the field now going through. What a start it is out of lane 6 for Ethan Carr. He's absolutely flying for Western. The field now coming through Hatchard in 4. Hatchard's caught up to Carr, and Hatchard should hold on as he comes down with 5 to swim. The USA gets on the wall, 27.80, the time that wins. He's pretty happy about that one. Coming to foreign waters and taking the title. You respect the accomplishment and you respect the reaction.
Yeah, no, that was a very nice swim. It was almost controlled. He didn't look like he was over swimming it at all. A really dominant start from Ethan Carr. He blitzed that first 15. Almost got to the point, as we see the start again there, we almost got to the point where it was like, I got to come up because I'm at 15. He was going so fast underwater. He jumped up, got a little bit tangled in the lane rope and got held up, but a very controlled swim there from Hatchard, a visitor from the US. He takes out the gold medal. Liam Blair, fastest Australian, he'll get a gold as well. 3rd to Kerr, and 4th, Ethan Carr, he'll hold on for a bronze.
Yeah, he did well there, Ethan Carr. He did just hit the lane rope, which is a hazard when you're swimming in an outdoor pool, especially when you're trying to go so fast. It might be a bit harder to stay in the middle of the lane.
Well, I swear I saw the other day 2 swimmers move over to the lane ropes next to each other in the backstroke, take a stroke at the same time, and I feel like they kind of hit each other under the water because both of them almost stopped dead and lost all this momentum. So now into the B final for the 13 years. 14 years B final, apologies, as we're pushing into the last 15 metres. It's Billy Main in the middle of the pool. He earned that centre lane this morning, but now he's got to fight it off with Makira in lane 6. He gets there, though. The 2 of them duck under. In fact, the top 3 duck under the 30-second mark. 29.3. 29.32 to 29.38, and then 29.72 for Richardson. So nice swimming there in the B final.
Yeah, the boys have done a good job there. Always good to get another swim in at night. Challenge themselves. They would have seen that swim from the A final.
That was the 13 years. Apologies, not the 14. I read the graphic wrong, but the 13 years B final. And a nice swim trying to emulate that victory from lane 4. So results from that B final.
29.32. Billy Main, Brendan McKeera, 29.38. Very close in the end there.
I think Billy Main was pretty happy to get himself up on the big screen as well. Had the haircut ready to go. Let's move to our 14 years A finalist though, as we get ready here for another national title to be awarded. And once more we see a visitor swimming from lane 4, Xavier Tay, this time for Warringah. 27.37 this morning. Archie Smith, the leaders of the non-visitors, the Australians, swimming out of lane 5 for St Andrews, 28.06. On your screen now though, we have Campbell Smith, Nudgee College, 29.21, the heat swim this morning. He's made it in by 0.05 for Campbell Smith. That is an opportunity to come back tonight and swim fast and show that you earned that final spot.
It is indeed, and it is always tough as well. Just missing out by the slightest of margins, qualifying into a final. That's a good thing about having the B finals as well, in these 50s and the 100s. An opportunity to come back and get another swim here.
Well, in a lot of the international meets, we would have semi-finals. So the top 16 would go through, or 20 in this case, so we're using all 10 lanes. So it is relevant in getting the top 20 or 16 through to a night final. But this way we don't have that extra layer of the third final, I guess, on the next night. So 14 years A final now.
And we have one of the local boys come over the top.
Take your marks.
For the challenge that is, who will take the title? Up and going very quickly is lane number 7. That's Juba Ishmael, wanting some more action after already taking the 100 freestyle title tonight. He's absolutely charged through the 15-metre mark. Tay lifting for Warringah, caught on the rope. Here comes Smythe in 5 to the battle. Ishmael, Smythe, and Tay on the wall. It goes to Ishmael, 27.48. He holds on, 2 gold medals, and Surrey Park goes crazy there. Isaac Ishmael, 2 golds in about an hour and a half on the lane rope. Let's go.
And he rides the lane rope. Yeah, that was really strong. He really worked that first 15. He was so strong at the start. I felt in the middle, he almost, I don't want to say backed off, but the others caught him a bit. And I thought he was going to get past, but somehow he not only found a little bit extra, but was able to get his hand on the wall. 12/100ths of a second ahead of Smythe. Tay, our visitor, in for 3rd. And Linus in lane 3. He'll come home with the bronze as 3rd Australian. So all of those swimmers getting under the 28-second mark, which is great to see. As our B finalists get ready for their turn. We've got some more 50 action after this. The girls 13 and 14 years, 50 metres freestyle. So we can keep our attention up this end.
Take your marks.
So away nice and cleanly here in the B final for the 14 years. Pretty even across the field. No one really pushing that 15-metre mark. Although lane 5, 6, Jason Denham looking strong. Archie not. Is probably just getting his arms out in front now, and he comes down to the wall. He touches into 28.8. Really strong swim from the B final. So Archer not 28.8, second to the wall. Daniel Collins 29.0. third through was actually Valemi up in lane 0 for 29.08. Only 2 100ths in it. And then Denholm for 4th. So very close racing yet again in these 50s. As we say goodbye to the 14 years backstroke contingent. And we welcome the girls coming out for their 50 metres. Now, Kiara Nixon, the fastest qualifier this morning in the 13 years A final. She swam a time of 26.85. Amaya Hill from St Peters Western at 26.94. So, quick maths, we're less than a tenth of a second between the top two. And across the entire field, it's less than a second. So, this is going to be another very, very tightly fought race with about 0.9 separating fastest to slowest going into the final tonight.
Yeah, you do expect that from these 50s, that there is going to be around about a second separating the whole entire field here. 13 years title holder from last year, Roxanne Alberton, in a 26.44. So Kiara Nixon and Amaya Hill in the 26s this morning, looking pretty good. Let's see if they can get about that half-second drop. Pretty strong Australian record there, the 13 years from Yolan Kukla, 25.35. Had to be a pretty special swim to hit that mark.
Stayed from 2009, so potentially a bit of a potential suit advantage there in the super suit era, but remarkable time nonetheless.
I think Yo won the Commonwealth Games a year later in that event as a 14-year-old, which is pretty awesome.
Take your marks.
So in the water for the 13 years A final, and almost a bit of a slow start there from Nixon in the middle. She didn't quite come up with the rest of them. She's got a bit of a battle now. Amaya Hill has just got the measure on her at this stage, and those big arms are coming through. So great swim here from Hill. Nixon wants to come back. Oh, it's going to be close to the wall. 3 100ths of a second separating them. And considering it wasn't the greatest start from Nixon, that was an exceptional swim to come back to second. So Amaya Hill in for first. She is your Australian champion. At a time of 26.47. 3 100ths back was Nixon. And third to the wall, Clemenson. 26.92. Oh, that was a great shot there, showing the two hands reaching out for the touchpad. And I thought she was left behind there, Nixon. She, off that dive, she was easily the last to leave and easily the last to break out. Whether something went wrong or whether she just hasn't quite nailed that part of the race, it almost looked a little unfair. But great job to come back to second. A B final now for the 13 years.
And the girls are away in the B final of these 13 years 53. Can't really split the field at the start here. It looks like it's going to be Kira Stubbins in lane 5, who's moving through nicely. Big kicks coming from the middle of the pool, and it is going to be Stubbins who's moving through. She's looking good, but also out there from St Catherine's, Lily Bevan in lane 3, but it's anyone's guess on the finish here. And it is Stubbins. 27.37 was Alea Mabsett. At 27.47, they got her hand on the wall there, and Sophie Clifton out there. Lane 2, 27.6.
Nice swim there from Kira. Might have to have a chat with her coaches about her breathing inside the flags. But she did get her hand to the wall a tenth of a second ahead of Alea Mabsut. And Sophie Clifton, as you said, in for third. So B final swum. Now, and you're usually pretty good at this. What would Kira's time in that? What did she go? She went 27.37. How would that have compared to the first heat?
Well,
6
it
or
wasn't
7?
a heat, it was a final.
Oh, final,
so
sorry,
that's your
final,
first
final.
mistake.
Yeah, that is my first mistake.
Look,
don't list them all. We'll be here all night.
Those 50s are just so tight. I mean, Hill and Nixon were really ahead of the rest of the field there in that 27.37. I mean, for me, it has to be done in the morning. For me, it's not about looking at where you would have placed in that A final, because I think for me, it's about really powering through in the morning to make that top 10 spots to come back.
The event is the heat and the final, isn't it? It's the whole thing, and you can't just choose one to be good in. I do completely agree. So you set it up in the morning and you execute it at night. And that's what they'll be looking here as we look to the A final for the 14-year-old girls. Roxanne Alberton.
She's back out again.
Yes.
She's had a big night of racing.
Can't keep a good girl down. She's doing a fantastic job. We've seen a few swimmers backing up tonight. It's a big program, but very often these swims do clash with each other. And it's a real skill to be able to finish a swim, physically cool down, but also mentally reset for your next event. Sometimes they're even a different discipline, going from backstroke to freestyle.
Well, they swam the 200 AM earlier, so a tough double 200 AM into that 50 free.
Let's see how she goes. So in the water, very fast start there from Hanafi in lane 5. She got off pretty well. Alberton up well, though, with a nice breakout. She had a nice little warm-up before in the individual medley, and now into her real race. She's absolutely blitzing them, so she's edged ahead there in lane 4. It's very close, but she's clearly ahead. Comes down with a big touch. She touches in a 26.18. Second through, 0.3 of a second back. Judith Hast and Lily Bevan in with a 26.49.
So she was able to change that silver into gold and take home the gold in the 50 freestyle, that 26.18 from Alberton there from lane number 4. Hast with that silver medal, that 26.48. And Bevan with the bronze in that 26.49. A beautiful swim from Alberton there. Really powered home in that last 15 metres.
Yeah, she looked really good there, Roxanne Alberton, and keeps her title from last year. So she was the 13 years champ, and she will be the 14 years champ.
Yeah, she progressed through from this morning as well. We just spoke about that. So went at 26.27, now 26.18, so she improved there. So girls now up for the B final for the 14 years 50 freestyle.
Take your marks.
The B final in the water. And a really nice long underwater from Maya Harris there in lane 4. She looked very, very strong. Absolute line across the water. No one really putting themselves forward. Bernie in lane 2 looking good at this stage. Maybe also Broughton in lane 6. As they come down to the wall, it's literally going to come down to the touch. It's 7. It's Loya Kono in lane 7. So Dottie comes in with a 27.11. Second through was Harris with a 27.23. And 1/100th back was Byrne in a 27.24. So you can see there 27.23, 24, 25, 3-1, 3-3. So a tenth of a second separating second to 6th. That is what you call a very fast and tightly contested final.
As we have a look at the next event on the program, this is the boys' 15 years 400 metre freestyle A final. Some really fast racing on our hands from this morning. Your fastest qualifier, Ison there in that 4:06.94. A second in front of the field there. Tan from Singapore in that 4:07.92. And Kay from lane 3, 4:08.39. We had 5 of those boys under that 4:10 mark this morning, so it will be quite tight for those boys tonight in that final. We saw a lot of different tactics at play this morning. We saw some boys take it out really hard and be able to hold on to that lead the entire way. But we also saw a couple of those boys hold back until that last 200 metres to make that move. So it's anyone's game tonight. Thomas Bridie very strong in those distance events.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, the 400 and the heats. You've got the ability and you've got the time there. Potentially try and feel yourself out in the morning, just go out relatively hard and then drop it off. But I expect to see some pretty solid negative splits here. Want to be out fast in that 400 as well. It is just a bit of a prolonged sprint these days. You know, watching Sam Short, he just goes from the gun and does not stop. Interested to see this boys' 15 years final. Title holder is Lincoln Wearing, 3:54 flat. Let's see if we can get a few of these boys under that 4-minute mark.
Take your marks.
And the boys are away. 15 years, 400 metres freestyle final. It is about setting the race up from the start. And that's exactly what William Ison in the middle of the pool is doing. Settling into that stroke. But even getting the better of the starts out there was Thomas Bridie out of St. Peter's Western. Fantastic club. And knows how to swim the 400 free. It will be Liam Paulson following him around from Camberwell Grammar. As the boys settle in to their strokes and their stroke rate. You do want to set this race up from the start. You don't want to overkick. Get a good speed, get that easy speed going in that first 100 metres. And we'll see some different tactics at play here, whether they decide to work that middle part of this race. But it will be the lad out of St. Peter's, Thomas Bridie, leading us through the first 100 metres in a 57.2.
Paulson in that second position, currently in that 57.72. Ison in that third position, 57.77. So interesting to see Ison and Tan just hold back ever so slightly. Tan more than Ison. He's trying to hold on to that lead now as those boys are coming to that 150 mark here. Bridie still in front ever so slightly, just in front of Ison now, that 128.21, 128.36, so not much in it at all. Tan in that fourth position, just holding back ever so slightly. So if he's got a stronger back end, we'll see it as we come down to that halfway turn. They're looking very strong out there. Bridie doing a great job from lane 6, but Ison really fighting through here at that halfway mark. As you can see, Kay in lane 3 has now tried to make his move to that lead pack. Bridie's still in front at that halfway turn, that 157.25 in front of Ison, that 159.64, and Kay in that 159.82. Very tight with those top boys right now, as that battle is between 1 and 5 right now, really battling it out, those boys in those middle markers.
Yeah, I was interested to see what Bridie, how he would affect this race. Going out so strong, he's really dragged along Ison, Tan and Kay, and now the 4 of them absolutely matched it. Bridie's still with that lead. He's desperate to not relinquish it. He's dragging along Liam Paulson as well on the other side in lane 7, but Ison, Kay and Tan aren't going anywhere. Bridie's really struggling to shake them, and they've got 100 metres. The bells are out, 100 metres to go. This is going to be an absolute match race. Get your feet on the wall, go as hard as you can for 2 laps, and you've got a national championship and title under your belt.
Yeah, there's really nothing separating these boys as they head down for the last 100 metres. It looks to be Bridie, who's picked up the kick a little bit, but I'm even looking at Nicholas Tan in lane 5. They're all kind of looking at each other. They can sense there is a national title here for the taking, but it might even be William Ison and Cooper Kay out there in lane 3. But Bridie, he's led the whole race. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to let this one go, as all the boys turn in 3:32.9s. The race is on. Who has paced himself the best? As the kicks pick up, the stroke rates start to lift. It is a race in the middle of the pool, and this is going to be an absolute cracker. No one is relinquishing the lead so far. I think it might be William Ison that's coming over the top, but Thomas Bridie not letting this one go. It is going to go down to the last stroke. And it will be Thomas Bridie, a 4:01.14. William Ison, a 4:01.18. And Cooper K, 4:02.55. And wow, it came down to that last 50 metres. A pair of 28.2s from the lads there, the first and second. But it was a courageous swim there from Thomas Bridie. He put his hand up early in the race and said, I'm going to lead this one out. And he left just enough in the tank to be able to bring it home and take that national title.
Well, that was super impressive. We're used to 50 metres being separated by hundredths of a second, but a 400-metre swim being separated by 4 100ths. Look at that finish. Almost a mirror image of each other. But it was Bridie to the wall first. And your latest national champion. Incredible scenes here yet again at the Australian Age Championships. Hope you're enjoying the coverage on 9 Now. Plenty more action. In fact, we literally go from one 400 to the next as we confirm the results there from the boys' 15 years. And what an absolute battle. I was wondering how Bridie's initial swim, how that would affect the others, how they react. Well, they came right up against it, but Bridie had an answer still. He responded so well.
Yeah, he did. I'm just looking at their splits now between Ison and Bridie. Pretty much identical throughout the whole race.
It was 2 100th of a second different on that last 50 in the favour of Bridie. But the boys are now out for the next event. The 16 years 400 metres freestyle. And here we have Lincoln Wearing, Daniel Van Leeuwen, Isaac Wearing, our visitor Russell Pang, Jesse Hamilton, Luke Lee. These names, Riley Mears, these names have already dominated a lot in these championships. We're only up to day 4, we're only halfway through, and the names keep cropping up race after race, and especially in these distance events. And the 400, like you said before, Alex, it's sort of like a prolonged sprint. And we saw that just then as they had to sprint to the wall.
Absolutely, and I was surprised by the bells, but then I realised that they've introduced the bells into the 400 and the lap counters as well, so...
Exactly. I think it's a good thing. I was sort of in the back of my mind toying with the idea of having it in the 400 individual medley then, and I thought, well, if you're losing your lap counts in your 400 aim, I think you're doing something wrong. But no, it's a good thing in the 400 free.
Look, all eyes will be on Lincoln Wearing. He obviously smashed that Australian record in the 800 freestyle, so we'll see what he can do in this 400 freestyle.
Take your marks.
So underway for the A final of the 16 years 400 metres freestyle. And after a great battle in the 15 years, the Australian record held in the 16-year category, also held by Ian Thorpe. So the time for the 15 years, just previous race, held from 1998 to 3:44.35 and a 3:41.83 from 1999, a year later, from the big man himself. So early days, but Lincoln Wearing really trying to separate himself here. Only about a quarter of a second in front of Pang, and Van Leeuwen back for third. But as you said, Alex, this is a bit of a prolonged sprint, and at the moment that sprint is favouring the Wearing brother of Lincoln.
Yeah, he's looking really nice and controlled here. Not overrating, but he's got a solid kick behind him. He's looking really smooth, actually. Fantastic technique out there from Lincoln Wearing. A few of the boys going with him. I think Lincoln Wearing has a PB of 3:48. So with the boys recognising that and knowing how fast he might go tonight, maybe getting that lift from him in the early part of this race. As he turns in the 150 mark, he's got about a body length now on the rest of the field. holding around 29 flat in his splits here. He's moving forward, and Daniel Van Looy in lane 3, sitting on his hip there, trying to get a bit of a ride, see if he can take this 200 out a little bit quicker. But it is Lincoln Wearing at the moment, looking nice and smooth and controlled. We'll see what the time will be at this 200-metre mark. We would love to see a sub 3-minute 50 swim. He looks to have picked it up a little bit. As we mentioned, these different tactics in these 400-metre races, trying to potentially negative split this race. But that split there was a 153.98. If he can come home in around a 154 flat, he'll be looking at a new PB and a 3:47 time. So he is looking very strong as he picks it up now.
Yeah, he'll need to come back in at 29.0s. Well, he's just gone to 28.7, so I was thinking it's going to be a tall order, but he's already on the mark. So Lincoln Wearing picked up the pace with this second 200. And coming down now, Daniel Van Looy doing a great job to stay with him. But look at that kick. It doesn't look like he's in the middle of a 400, does it? Looks like he's coming down a touch, but he's still got 100 metres to go. The bells are out. That's going to give him motivation to keep that power going. He's just split a 29.1, so can he get underneath the 350? It's going to be tight. I reckon he's going to do it, Alex. I think he's right on the money. You know that last one's going to be a 28-something.
Yeah, absolutely. He's looking strong, and he has lifted the rate up a little bit. He's lifted the kick. He's sitting nice and high on top of the water, so he's really looking good here. We'll see what this split is as he heads down for the final lap. It is a 28.8, so he is gone that sub 29. He does need to go sub 30 here to break that 3-minute 50 barrier, so he's looking comfortable. The big 6-beat kicks coming in. Daniel Van Looy as well doing a fantastic job there in lane 3. Maybe could we see two of the boys under that 3-minute 50 mark? But it is Lincoln Wearing who has pushed away now. He's really put a gap on the rest of the field just in that one lap, and we'll watch the time. It's a 3:48.64. Fantastic swim there from Lincoln Wearing. He gets under that 3-minute 50 mark, and it will be Daniel Van Looy in that second place. Really solid effort there as well, and 3:53.5. Russell Pang, our visitor from Singapore, coming in third. So it will be Jesse Hamilton that picks up a bronze medal in the 16 years age group final.
A great swim there from Lincoln Wearing. I tell you what, Emily, if I swam a 3:48, I'd not only be jumping for joy, I'll be telling everyone about it. That was very, very strong, especially that last 50, 27.94. A great swim to take out the 16 years national title.
Really dominated that distance event too. He's so strong in a multitude of events, so takes out home another gold medal. Lincoln Wearing in that 3:48.64. That silver going to Van Looy there in that 3:53.59, and Pang with that third position, 3:55.20. So Hamilton will take the bronze in that 3:57.06. A fantastic swim from Lincoln Wearing.
So plenty to look forward to in tonight. We've got the girls 15 to 16 years 50 breaststroke, and some 800s, a 1500, and we finish with some state relays. So make sure you don't go anywhere. Stay with us here on 9 Now for our live coverage of the Australian Age Swimming Championships here at the Gold Coast Aquatic Centre. We'll be back straight after this break. Welcome back to the Australian Age Championships. Wherever you're watching around Australia, we are at the Gold Coast Aquatic Centre. And we've already had some huge swims tonight. We've got a handful left before we finish up the halfway mark of these championships. It's night 4 as we move into the girls 15 and 16. So this is the 15 years A final. And then we have a B final, and then we move into the 16A and B final following that. The Australian records there on your screen for the 15 years. Sienna Tui's 31.01. She also holds the 16 years 30.58. And our fastest qualifier from this morning was Emily Daunt from Marion. She swam a time of 32.45. So with a little bit of pressure on her as fastest qualifier, and we know how fast these 50s have been, where some of these 50s have been won by hundredths of a second, and the breaststroke is one of those races where it's going to happen. We're going to have that lunge for the wall, and depending on where you are in your stroke, it can either help or hinder that finish onto the wall. So athletes being presented to the crowd, and look at these support people going to a lot of trouble making those big banners to give those girls just that extra little bit of spark, and they're going to need it in this dash of 50 breaststroke.
Now, Emily Daunt, the swimmer in lane 4, sort of, I would call it she dominated this morning in that heat, that 32.45.
Almost a second ahead, yeah.
It is, and it's quite a big lead for a 50, so we'll see if she can do that again tonight in this A final.
Take your marks.
So off with a very fast reaction start there from Avery Coe, Trinity Grammar. She got off the wall very, very well, but look at the breaststroke go from Emily Daunt. She really rips it up. Her kick is absolutely dominant, and she's pushing ahead. Herself and Avery have left everyone else behind. It's between the two of them, but let's be honest, Emily Daunt has got this one absolutely wrapped up with 5 to go. How fast can she go? A 32.4 this morning. Oh, not quite onto the wall, a 32.1. I think with a better finish, it could have been a 31. She had to really glide for that, but it was still a dominant win. So Dawn in for first, Coe in for second, Hope got third, and Adele Ha in for fourth. We talked about that finish in the breaststroke. It's such a tough thing to get right, and if you're just not quite on the right stroke when you go to finish, look at that, it's just a glide, and then she gets there. And she knew it. She wanted to get under that 32. She was so close.
She was that 32.10. She'll still take the gold medal. So we'll take the silver in that 32.55 and Hope with the bronze in that 33.48. As we look now, this is your 15-year-olds B final of the 50 metres breaststroke.
Take your marks.
So dominant win there from Emily Daunt in the A final. Now the B finals chance. This is our 11th to 20th place from the heat this morning, getting a chance to rip up the final. And it's exactly what is happening there in lane 8. So Charlotte Kelly from Furbank. Lily Chan, apologies, from Nunawading. Really getting the best of that start. But it's probably the other side of the pool. So Lawrence Wong, Olawini, pushing very hard at the top, and they get to the wall. It's Olawini. She touches first in a 33.93. Just ahead of Wong, a 34.08. And then 200s back to Lawrence. So yet again, a tough one to win onto the wall with hundredths of the second coming into play.
Olawinini takes out the B final of the 15-year-olds 50 breaststroke as we move along to the next event on the program. That's it, girls. 16 years A final of the 50 metres breaststroke. Correct de Bruzak there, your fastest qualifier in 4. Very strong in those breaststrokes. And I am Zanka in 5. Reg in 3. A very tough final for those 16-year-old girls.
Love the support from the crowd. As we mentioned before, it's getting loud. I feel like as the night goes on, it's getting louder and louder, which is a good sign as the girls, 16 years, A final, struts out onto the pool deck. You did mention that Australian record sitting at a 30.58. Sienna Tui making her debut on the Dolphins team that year, 2025, moving through nicely. Always good to see these records fall and provide some inspiration for the next generation of swimmers coming through. As I look at the times, the seeded times here, a couple of swims sub 32 this morning. We just saw Emily Dawn go a 32.1, so they would have seen that and been inspired.
Yeah, she was very close to getting under the 32-second mark. Georgia Edwards apparently wanting someone to call her, but we just saw Lila Rubo de Brizac. She's the fastest through, 31.52, and Zanka there is the other who got underneath that 32 mark.
The Australian record sits with Sienna Tui in that 30.58. But can these girls sneak under that 31 seconds tonight?
Off well for the 16 years A final. Nice long underwater there from Lila Rubo de Brizac from Newmarket Races. She qualified fastest from this morning, herself and Zanka. The only two girls under 32, and look at them go absolutely stroke for stroke. I love this. This is going to bring out the best in both of them. Also looking good there, Dredge. McGrath is strong, but it's going to be Lila. She comes down to the wall. She touches into 31.20, so nicely quicker than this morning, and takes out the Australian Championship. Second to the wall was Dredge, so just getting on top of Zanka with a fantastic last 25. Fourth through McGrath, who looked good the whole way, and Edwards takes out the top five.
A very quick 50 there, that 31.20. Robert de Brizac there taking home your gold medal. Dredge will take home the silver in that 32.05. And Zanka with the bronze in that 32.11. Fantastic swim for our A finalists. It's that 16-year-old girls, 50 breaststroke. As we have a look now, this is your B final coming up. Those results official on your screen. B final getting ready to get on the blocks right now. Only a second between first and 10th position this morning, so very tight. The girls are off. This is your B final of the 50 metres breaststroke, your 16-year-old girls. Great start in the middle of the pool there from Zhang out of 4 and Anderson in 5. Very strong, powering through this breaststroke. It's a very tight field out there. Ever so slightly in front is Zhang in 4. Battling it out with Yo in 6 as they come down with 5 metres left to swim. It's the battle in 4, 6 and 3 there as they come down to the touch. It's Zhang who takes it out in that 33.08. Lynn with that second hand on the wall, that 33.25. And Anderson, third hand on the wall in that 33.38 there. A great final. Yo just outside in that fourth touch on the wall, but very close, 33.48. Very, very fast swim for Vera Zhang there to take out that B final of the 16-year-old girls. 33.08, so faster than this morning. So a fantastic job to come back tonight and swim harder than that morning swim. As our ladies exit the pool, that was your B final of the 16-year-old girls at 50 metres breaststroke. Those results are official on your screen now. As we have a look at the next event on the program, we've gone from the smallest event to getting up into the longest event here. As we have a look, this is your boys 17 to 18 years, 800 meter freestyle. We have 5 17-year-olds and 5 18-year-olds here. So the battle is who can get that gold, silver and bronze. Luke Higgs, your fastest qualifier in lane number 4 in that 8:04.45. Very quick out there is that Australian record for your 17-year-olds. It is that 7:45.67 for Mac Horton back in 2013. And that 18-year-old Australian record, that 7:39.16 from Ian Thorpe back in 2001. These boys are looking to qualify for the Junior Pan Packs. So they'll be looking at those times that they can produce. The 17-year-old qualifying time is an 8:04.11. Same as your 18-year-old's Junior Pan Packs qualifying time.
Yeah, 8:04.11, and Luke Higgs swam at 8:04.45 this morning, so we know that's well within his reach. Well, that's his entry time at least. This is the fastest time final. So it's going to be a great battle tonight. Luke Higgs, so strong and dominant in these very tough events, I have to say. He really puts himself forward in very strong and tough programs. As the swimmers being presented to the crowd, and we get ready for 16 laps of the best freestyle that we have in Australia. This is a combination of the 17 and 18 years, and it's almost every alternate lane looking at the draw. So about half the team, half the field 17, half 18.
Take your marks.
In the water for the 17 and 18 years, 800 meters freestyle. The bright pink cap of Warringah for Luke Higgs in lane 4, but the Brisbane Jets cap of Charlie Austin is what is currently drawing everyone's eye as he takes them out very strong in a 26.01. Shadforth through in a 26.94, and then Higgs. So it is very early days, and it's always interesting to see what happens with these sort of races. Will people react to Austin's very quick first 100? Will they change their plan in their race? Will they react early? Will they wait and think that, no, he's burning up his energy too early, I'm not going to make that decision? But so far, it's going all Charlie Austin's way. So 54.8 at the midpoint. He's got about a second and a half, or 2.5 seconds rather, lead on Shadforth in second, and about the same on Luke Higgs. Cahill going through fourth. Cooper Love in fifth. But it's the middle lanes and that orange cap that they're trying to chase.
A little bit surprised here by Austin. 400 in the individual 400 freestyle, but we can often see this sometimes in the distance events where those athletes that feature in those mid-distance get a little bit nervous in that event, and then when it comes to the distance event, really bring the heat, and that's exactly what we've seen through Austin early on. He's already raced a decent program this championships, the 50, the 100, the 400 medley as well. So he's clearly got that speed. He's brought it early on, 155 turning through the 200 meter mark, but as was called through by Matt, this is the opportunity to drag those other athletes out with him. Shadforth up for the challenge. He leads the rest, 30.09 on that last lap, so he's starting to make an inroads, and as we say right here, he's pulled up alongside his hip. Austin used a bit of energy on that opening lap, just sitting on the lane rope, which did drag through Shadforth. And now we can see, we expect to see a change of lead in the next 100 meters. Luke Higgs, I like his position. He's a very experienced operator over this distance. He's really putting it together as they come down to the 300-metre mark. You can see the experience of Higgs just looming large. Shadforth and Austin, the ones that have led the charge. But don't forget about lane 4.
No, I'm impressed that they've caught him back so quickly. Charlie Austin had a huge lead, best part of 2 to 3 seconds from Shadforth and Higgs, and they've responded really well to get right back and almost get right in front of him. And they're coming down now to the 350-metre mark, and I think we're going to have the first change for the lead.
And here it is, as it was called. Shadforth hits the front. He's just faded slightly, so this is where those tactics really come into play. We can see Luke Higgs has not faded from that 30-point mark through the opening 350 metres. We just saw Shadforth bump up into the 31. Charlie Austin has been 31 for a couple of 50s now, and this is where Higgs, very methodical. You can often, especially at an age group level, get caught up in an athlete going out exceptionally fast. But Higgs is just looming large. Shadforth answering back there, though, keeping that position, but he is giving up fractions of time to Higgs, who sits in second now.
It really shows just how much going out hard has an impact on the energy expenditure, and especially in an event like an 800. It has sapped that energy, and now Higgs and Shadforth have both overtaken Charlie Austin. It was a brave tactic to get out hard, but the Brisbane Jet just not being able to hold on to this mid-race pace from Shadforth and Higgs.
This is a timed funnel, so these boys didn't get the chance to swim this event this morning. It would have been a big day of racing, so they've come out tonight fresh, and they're really firing here. Stratford doing a great job of holding on to that lead, that 5:01.20 in front of Higgs there, that 5:03.13, and Austin sitting in that third position now in that 5:04.99. So they've turned through at that 500-metre mark, and Shadforth's really trying to extend his lead on the rest of the field. Higgs holding on to his feet ever so slightly, and Austin just falling a little bit off that pace. Went out super hard there early and is just trying to hold on for that third position as they turn through at that 550 turn. Shadforth doing a great job of this 800, being able to extend that lead over Higgs there. We know Higgs has that faster qualifying time, so might see him battle back in the last 200 metres, but Stratford doing a great job out in front currently.
Yeah, Shadforth very consistent with his splits as he goes through, and coming down now to the 600-metre mark. So 200 metres to go here in this final, and he turns in a 6:03.78. So most of the places pretty set, not many battles going on. There is one, though, for 5th and 6th. So it's Shadforth in first, Higgs in second, Austin third, Cahill in fourth. Then it's Evans and Williams battling it out for 5th and 6th. That's probably the tightest battle in the pool at the moment. Love's in for 7th rather. 8th is Hambrecht. 9 is Abbott. And Jackson rounding out the 10, but Shadforth very consistent with his 50-metre times. His coach will be happy with that. He's holding 31.1 pretty much every time he hits the water. So right in the middle of your screen now is the battle at 5 and 6, and there is only 4 100ths between the two. So that's Evans and Williams. As they're coming down now to 100 metres to go. Evans and Williams. Evans in the 17-year-old and Williams in the 18. So they're battling it out, but technically in different races. Shadforth now a 7:06.00 at the 700-metre mark. And now Luke Higgs is moved up into second. Charlie Austin into third. And the kick has really come in on all the swimmers, especially Charlie Austin. He wants to catch Higgs. Can he try and get him? He's getting closer and closer. So the splits, he's actually got the lead, so that kick has pushed him in front of Luke Higgs. He's not going to catch Shadforth, but he has caught Higgs. So here's Charlie Austin. He wants that silver medal. He's absolutely ripped through him. He led from the start. He's going to get second, but a Shadforth's fantastic swim out in front that'll bag in the gold. So an 8:07.01 for your Victor. Second place through to Charlie Austin, 8:10.31, and an 8:14.70 for Luke Higgs.
Austin found a second gear on that last 100. He really turned there and powered through. He was sitting in that third position, but was able to claw his way up that ladder and get that silver medal in that 8:10.31. A great job after he took it out so hard in that first 200 metres, but Stradforth was just too strong to overtake in that 8:07.01. He will take home that gold medal. He is your age champion in the 17-year age group. The 18-year age group, he will take that gold medal.
So a good point there. Austin was 7 seconds faster in that last 100.
He was exceptional in that second 100. He will take home the gold medal as a 17-year-old. Luke Higgs will take home the silver medal as a 17-year-old.
See why they were fighting so hard down that final 100. I wonder what the coach has to say, though. Out very fast, home very fast, but it goes to your point that we've talked through the championships about just how there's physical toughness and mental toughness that comes into this race, and Charlie Austin showing that mental toughness through the back end, deservedly claiming a gold medal for the 17 years age group. But we still have one individual event to come for this evening. The girls 17-18 years 1500 meter freestyle final. One of the highlighted events on the program. Amelie Smith comes in as a very heavy favorite, 25 seconds faster than the second fastest event. The fastest through this morning, Polly Fleming for the 17 years age group, 17:23.45 her time. The time to beat for the 18-year-olds, 17:30.27. Olivia Bryant did that. Macy Buswell on the screen there. A great open water swimmer from St. Peter's Western. Been prolific through the 2026 season already and looking to continue her fine form here as she gets ready to take to the water. Delta Cross, she was great last night in the 200 freestyle, but she's going to be up against it. Amelie Smith, ready and raring. Joined in the commentary booth by none other than Swimming Australia CEO Rob Woodhouse, as Rob gets to call the best of the best of the next generation, in fact, Rob. The 1500 freestyle, one of your favourites.
There wasn't a favourite when I was swimming well, but it's always great to watch, isn't it? And we've got such a great history in distance swimming, male and female, of course, at Olympic and World Championship levels. So this is really exciting. It's my first session at Age Nationals. I was at the Open Nationals last week, Australian Open, but first session here this week. I'll be here for the rest of the week, and a lot of this talent will be competing for spots in Brisbane 2032, of course.
Let's see how the 1500s stack up. So in and underway, this is the fastest of the two heats. The time final being swum this evening. The girls 17-18 years, 1500 meter freestyle. Rocky City represented once more. Amelie Smith swimming from 4, Delta Cross in 5, but battles coming from across the pool deck. You'd expect the first of a 30-lap battle. And Alex, as we look across the pool, it really is anyone's race through the first 50.
Yeah, it is. It's early days in this 1500 metres. It's Amelie Smith coming in with a seed time of 16:47.1. Almost about a 20-second gap there from the next seed time. But that doesn't mean it won't be a close race. Anything can happen at these national level meets. It's always good to just get out there, try and improve on your times. I also wonder how many opportunities the girls get to swim the 1500 throughout the year. So it may only be a couple of times. I know some programs and some coaches only want them to do a few races, keep them a little bit fresher. But it is Amelie Smith moving through nicely in a 103. Felicity Walker in lane 3. looking okay as well, 103.52, and Delta Cross there, 103.7.
So both between yourself, Alex and Rob, neither of you raced the 1500 predominantly, but we've got a freestyler and we've got a medley swimmer. So someone that likes freestyle and someone that likes to hurt themselves, how would you approach a 1500?
I'll take that personally, Will. Yeah, the 1500 would be a hard one. I've never had the privilege of swimming, and I say the privilege, but I did knock out a couple of 800s in my time, and that was hard enough. But there is tactics involved. I did get the chance to train a little bit with Sam Short when we did that inter-squad crossover. He would do a lot of repetitions of those 500 metres. He would break them up, and he would do multiple sets of them in a row, trying to get faster and faster each time he did it. So I guess there could be the tactics involved of descending the 500s, so do 3 500s in the part of the race, or you could try and descend by 200s, or maybe even go out a little bit easier and try and break it up by 400s. Just depends on whatever works best for the athlete and what the goal is for the coach as well.
Very good advice, and I'm sure each and every one of the athletes would have been under different instructions coming into the race. Amelie Smith expected to be out the front, which is exactly where she is currently. 23 seconds the better of the girls in the pool at the moment. Rob, you said pre-race that we're expecting a number of the age competitors at this championships to be those that should be pushing for the team come Brisbane 2032. How important is having an age nationals, and how great is it to have the support of Gold Coast to put it on?
Oh, it's critical, and it's been critical for decades, hasn't it? The Age Nationals has been the breeding ground for some of our, well, all of our great athletes over many, many, many years, and it's just got bigger and bigger, and so many competitors, about 3,000 competitors here this week. Fantastic to be on the Gold Coast. It always puts on a fantastic show, and the stands have been full. A little quieter towards the end of the night, of course, but really good, and great support from clubs and teams and parents and grandparents and so on as well. So great experience for the athletes to compete at national level and to go on then to hopefully make Junior Pan Packs and other events from here as well, and then build towards Brisbane 2032.
We've been lucky enough to see your face on the big screen before each session, talking about some of the fantastic initiatives introduced by Swimming Australia over the past 12 months. One of those, W32 project. Can you talk us through what that's led to?
W32 has started basically with trying to get more female coaches, firstly on pool deck, but staying on pool deck and building careers all the way through to the elite level and high performance levels. And it's fantastic to be here today and walking around the pool deck, or both pool decks, during warm-up, and I reckon there's probably about 35-40% of the coaches are female coaches. The W32 program has provided effectively scholarships or grants where we had 27 female coaches last year that came and attended Next Generation camps. They were provided with great technical leadership coaching from some of the greats like Lee Nugent and Vince Raleigh and Simon Cusack and Tracy Menzies, and showing them a pathway towards, if they wanted to go that far, towards that elite coaching level. So it'll be really interesting to see how those young female coaches come through over the next few years, and I'd really love to see more female coaches on the pool deck and in our open water teams in Brisbane 32.
Well, it certainly helps when we have great female athletes leading the ways, the coaches with the opportunities now, thanks to their hard work, and of course the W32 initiative. Alex, as we look to the pool here, Amelie Smith is absolutely crushing this field. She goes through to the 500-metre mark on the next turn. You can see the gap that's opened up. How hard is it to swim a race like this?
Yeah, it will be tough for Amelie Smith here, being out in front, not really having her competitors around her, but this is what you do all the hard yards in training for. All these repetitions, all those repeat 50s, repeat 100s, working on your stroke rate, working on your stroke count, especially in these distance races. Always want to keep that count the same. Try and keep into a rhythm. It feels like a long way when you're watching it, but when you're swimming it, it actually goes relatively fast. And I've just been watching her splits here as they're popping up on the screen. The last two 50s, both 33.75s. So she's got a really good rhythm going. She's feeling the flow. She's been probably working that pace in training with the idea to hit this when it comes race time. And it was around that 200, 300-metre mark where she really started dropping her competitors off and started splitting about a second faster than what they were going. So she's looking strong, she's looking comfortable. She hasn't quite picked up the rate yet, so it's looking nice and smooth. we'll quite often see in these distance races as well, they won't be over-kicking, so there's not a big kick behind Emily Smith at the moment. Also very, very good at pull. So when we do our training, obviously with the pull buoy and our paddles, the distance swimmers really dominate that with their upper body. As you can see at the moment, it is all upper body there for Emily Smith, but she's looking good.
Well, a swimmer like Emily Smith is certainly one to keep on the radar. We've seen her such a prolific start to the championships here. 4 days in, 4 days to come. Well, we've talked about Brisbane 2032 being the potential horizon for some of the athletes at these championships, but an athlete like Emily Smith, and on the screen now, Walker and Cross, they certainly might even have LA in the up ahead for them. So for 2028, you're someone that raced at the last LA Olympic Games. What can the athletes expect for an LA Olympic Games?
Yeah, I'm not too sure too many of the athletes or their parents would remember the last LA Olympic Games, but yes, 1984, a long, long time ago. It'll be great to get back there. I'm sure there's a few of the age group athletes that have competed this week and are competing in the rest of the week who'll be targeting LA in 2028. But certainly, not just the young athletes, but those athletes that have been around a long time. Even Cam McAvoy's talked about it, hasn't he, going through till 2032, where he'll be 38 years of age, and you wouldn't put it past him. So there's going to be great competition for spots from young and old. Alex might even make a comeback, that 200 free 4x2 relay, I think. Who knows? But it's really, really exciting. It's an exciting time for our sport, just here in Australia, and for our able-bodied athletes and for our para-athletes. There's so much to look forward to. Brisbane is the horizon, of course. As an organisation, we're thinking well past Brisbane. We're thinking about where we're going to be and ensuring we are sustainable financially and in many other ways from 2035 and beyond. But for these young athletes, there's lots of opportunities now, and even at Australian team level, the Junior Pan Pacs in Vancouver in August. We've got World Junior Championships next year as well, so having two really big international meets in 2 consecutive years leading into the LA Games is really good. And if they're not quite at that level to make the LA Games, then Brisbane's well and truly on the horizon, that's for sure.
And we had the honour, absolute honour, of having Gary Barclay on the broadcast, the opening days of competition, where we heard through a number of other competitions that are to come later this year. For an athlete like Emily Smith, so versatile, both open water and in the pool, and seeing that here, 800 metres swum, 8:54, leading through this field by almost 15 metres as we make our way back out on this 50. There's so many opportunities, not only for the swimmers, but for fans of swimming throughout the year.
Very much so, and all around the country as well. Obviously, the big events, the national championship events. Our featured domestic event is the trials and then this year it's the trials for the Commonwealth Games, as well as the Pan Pacific Championships and the Para Pan Pacific Championships as well. So that's really exciting in Sydney in June. We've already had the Open Water National Championships, which you're at, of course, over in Bunbury. And that was a fantastic event in January, and I think we're going back there next year possibly as well. I'm not sure about that, but and of course the Australian Short Course Championships in Sydney in early October, late September as well. So some really good events, but there's really a lot of great state level events as well, which these athletes competed. And the more opportunities athletes like Amelie get to compete against the best in Australia, like Lani Pallister, who's also the best in the world, the better it is for her experience-wise leading into those 2028 trials and beyond.
I can't wait to watch it all. And, of course, if you are wondering where to watch it, the home of the Swimming Nines wide world of sports, be sure to check out all the action. If you can't find it there, head over to Swimming Australia's platforms to point you back. As we turn to the water, though, Alex, Emily Smith, again, doing a fantastic job, really consistent through the splitting here, just starting to nudge up into those 34-second 50s. But I tell you what, we've got Gold Coast, we've got LA, we had Bun Vegas earlier this year. We are absolutely spoilt for choice this year, and Emily Smith showing us just how good it is.
Yeah, she absolutely is, and we are spoilt for choice, and we're spoilt to be here on the Gold Coast. We have so many great events here. Remember the Commonwealth Games here back in 2018, and when we pulled into the car park here in the team bus, and the crowd was full, and it was absolutely pumping in the stands. It was an absolute honour to race in front of your home country. And that's what these kids will be doing at this age group championship, having that in the back of their mind. There is a 2032 Olympic Games coming up. It'll be such a great experience. The whole of Australia gets around the Olympics. Think about that 2000 Olympics, and I was only 5 years old, but I still remember the stories. We always watch those races. They're iconic Australian races. I think anytime there's a home event here, Australian swimmers fire up. I think we'll see that in Brisbane 2032 as well.
Well, we can only wait and see. Of course, this will be the place to watch it. Nine's Wide World of Sports has given you exclusive coverage of all 4 days of the Australian Age Championships here on the Gold Coast. And there's 4 days still to come. Armley really lengthening away here. It's a tight battle between Walker and Cross. Walker, of course, leading our 18 years age group. The 17 years leader sits in 4 on the screen now. The fastest through this morning, Holly Fleming, with a 17:23. The fastest through for the 18-year-olds was Olivia Brandt with a 17:30.27. Again, Rob, we've seen throughout the championships just how successful the move to combine the age group through the heats. How good is it to see the depth coming through these age group events? And the 1500 speaks volumes about having both the 17-18s together.
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it? And watching that, the girls 13, 14 years, 1500 last night, I watched that on TV, and what a great race that was as well. So the distance events do provide a lot of entertainment, some really close racing. Combining the age groups and combining the heats in the age groups is great. It means the coaches who sacrifice so much and the families aren't here all day. So the programs have been a little bit shorter each day, and it is a very long week, this 8-day week for the age groupers. But again, a great experience for everyone involved.
Yeah, it absolutely is. These meets can set you up. I remember doing a fair few age group championships back in the day. They'll be long meets, but it also does set you up for those Olympic days, doesn't it, where the meets tend to go for 9 days and at a World Championships as well. So getting this practice in from a young age, swimming multiple events, swimming for long days, it's a long time to be focused. Coming in and trying to hit the reset button after you might have done something amazing. You won your first national title, but you've got to race the next morning or the next day. It's really good to get that practice in and get the reps in, just turning up, trying to reset, get the warm-up, and get moving.
The tough race, the age championships, the ups are never as high as you think, the downs are never as low, but the ups seem pretty high right now for Armley Smith. She has absolutely crushed it. So as we come down 250 metres to swim, keen on both your thoughts here, Rob and Alex. What is going through the brain of Armley Smith as she has almost 20 metres to our next competitor?
I think she'd be counting down the laps now for sure, wouldn't she? I would have lost count by now, definitely. But look, it's all about pacing, as Alex said before. She would, Armley, and with all the competitors here, she's got the experience now as an 18-year-old to know what she's doing, and she'll probably bring the feet in a little bit more. I imagine the last 100, at least 150 metres.
Alex, pretty good summation there. And pretty accurate to where we're sitting in the race. 14:37 with 200 to come. Luckily, we have our incredible technical officials on pool deck counting down the laps for Armley Smith. I'm sure she'll be absolutely so ecstatic to hear that bell in just 75 metres time.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I was saying earlier, I didn't realise they had the bells in the 400 metres these days, and I did remember reading something about that. So I can imagine losing count in a 400. It'd be hard to keep count in the 1500s. But she's doing a very good job so far. The splits are looking pretty good. She has just picked it up again as we've been chatting away. The last 200 metres, she's down to about 34 lows. It did go up to about a 34 mid, but this whole race she's been sitting around that 34 low mark. So this is incredible pacing here from Armley Smith. As we come down to the final 100 metres, expect her legs to get brought into the race a little bit. They've been lying behind her, not doing too much, keeping her body steady. And you can tend to see in these distance races, the shoulders will be a little bit red. The oxygen trying to pump to the muscles. And the girls either side of her as well, Felicity Walker and Delta Cross, racing out for those medal positions as well. Felicity Walker, the 18-year-old, and she will be the first 18-year-old to the wall. But Delta Cross, a 17-year-old as well, as they pick up the pace here. It is Felicity Walker that's brought in the legs here. Emily Smith potentially saving it for that last 50. Felicity Walker picked up the pace, 34 lows. Emily Smith still sitting around that 34 low mark as well. As you can see them moving forward. But Felicity Walker, the race is on, and Delta Cross, they will be looking at each other coming down the last leg. They'll know exactly where each other are. They've spent the whole race looking at each other, eyeing each other off. The stroke rates have picked up. The legs have picked up. As we see Emily Smith come down to the wall now.
Here it is, a very well-deserved title. 16:52.31. Amelie Smith, a gold medal going her way. The battle through to the wall goes the way of Walker, the 18-year-old, across in first position. Delta Cross, the second for the 17-year-olds. Eleanor Flowers as well for North Coast, part of that junior open water world championship team across Oz, the third 17-year-old, beating the time listed this morning. So a fantastic result called all the way through. Amelie Smith, very, very good swimming there. 5 seconds outside of her entry time, but I'm sure, as we talked to before, when she gets the opportunity to race against the best, like Lani Pallister at trials later this year, we could expect to see some time drop. Amelie Smith, though, remember the name. What a 4 days of competition she's had thus far. As we welcome home some of our final athletes here. This is Denise Gray of St. Peter's Western finishing her account, 18:01.51. What a swim.
Yeah, she looked really good there and led from the front. It was early days in that 100 when the girls were staying with her and tried to stick on her pace. But as I mentioned earlier, around that 34 low mark pretty much the whole way through. Drifted up to about a 34.5 throughout a few of those 50s. But then the last 200 metres brought it right back down to a 34 and finished her off in 32. So well paced. I'm sure she's done a lot of work pacing for those 1500. She's had such a busy week so far. Probably one of the stars to watch in the future.
Yeah, well-designed race, and that only comes through hard training, as you talked through there, Alex. Rob, just before you jump off, we have our state relays coming up next. That is a fantastic part of the Australian Age Champs.
It is, and talking to a couple of the states this morning, some of the team managers, they were pumped for this. And it is always a great honour to race for your state. You don't get an opportunity very often. You don't get it at open level very often, but to do it at age and go through the age groups, it's a fantastic experience. And we, as a nation, we love our relays, and the athletes, when they're competing for Australia, they love winning medals in the relays as well. Alex knows all about that, but yeah, great opportunity for these athletes.
And I can't let you go without asking this question. A Victorian yourself now, but a man of the world. Who's the state of choice?
Who's Victoria, for sure. There's always Victoria.
Good to hear. Nice and
the Melbourne Demons in the AFL. Alex knows all about that. He's been a Collingwood fan, but Victoria. I always support the Victorians, but working at Australian level now, it's all about the Aussies everywhere. And I'm excited about what's to come, and the performances of all these athletes this week gives us all great hope for what's to come in 2032.
Well, thanks for joining us, Rob Woodhouse, CEO of Swimming Australia, joining us for tonight's coverage. But now we turn our attention to the pool. This is the mixed 13-14 years 4x50 medley state relay. That is a mouthful, and we have a pool full of athletes, every single state and territory except for the ACT represented here across the pool.
Take your marks.
Underway now. We here have the 4x50 medley relay. This is the 13-14 years mix. It's great to see the NT out of one, but the best of the starts, Blake Allen in lane 4 for South Australia. We expect to see this one ebb and flow throughout.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, these mixed relays, you can do any combination you like. So we see South Australia and Tasmania opting to go with the boys first, and the rest of the states opting with the girls. So we should see the lead changes every lap almost. depending on the combinations that you go with. So we see some of the lads enter the water here. Jacob Jones racing Charlotte Toe. So it is an experience in itself, getting to race the girls and the boys, as the Victorians now moving through, courtesy of Quinn Richards, putting together a really strong breaststroke leg. And the New South Wales team out there in lane 7, thanks to Liam Chang, as they've changed over. The Queenslanders look to have had a really good changeover there, and I think that was Roxanne Alberton, our 50 winner from earlier in the night. But it is Dion Kapate from... Sorry, it is Jemiah Fari from Victoria. I was looking at the Northern Territory team there. But it will be Jacob Shamokin, who has just put the New South Wales team in the lead. But now we will see the race kick off. Coming down to the wire, the Victorians have gone with Isaac Ishmael to anchor them home. And he has brought this team home for the gold medal and the bragging rights for the state.
So we saw the other night that New South Wales was able to take out 5 of the 6 relays tonight. Victoria starts out on top. They take out the first of the state relays in that 4x50 metre medley for your mixed 13 and 14-year-olds. The next relay on the cards is the mixed 15 by 16 years 4x50 medley relay. It's exciting when they change from the male swimmers to the female swimmers. It makes such a difference throughout this medley relay, and they can make those switches at any point. You could start off with the 2 women, you can finish with the 2 men, very strong, or you could mix throughout and go male, female, male, female. It's all a matter of where your strengths lie in those states. As we bring out the next final here for that state relay, let's see if Victoria can hold on to this winning form, or can Queensland or New South Wales rain on that parade?
Does get a bit confusing, or maybe I'm just confused watching, trying to figure out who's in the water.
I agree. It is very hard when they start swimming. You don't know who's who. But we can see that there's 2 females out there and there's 3 males. So we'll see quite the change.
Good opportunity, sorry, Em, to lead off as well and get a good solid hit out. So I'm trying to look at these names here. We see some repetitive names throughout this meet already, some really fast swimmers. So in this medley relay, the backstroke time will count. And I believe it counts for the girls as well now, leading off.
Take your marks.
Who will fire back here? This is event 57, the mixed 15-16 years attempt at the state relay. Isaac Allen in 4, but Bryce Krause, he's been prolific this evening, and you can see exactly why he's leading off the Maroons. They want some blood in these relays. They weren't happy with night 1, and they're out fighting hard through the first 50.
He's looking really good there, Bryce Krause, and he's going to give his team a hefty lead coming into this breaststroke leg. A 25-73 split, so that is not too shabby there from Bryce Krause. Isaac Allen there putting together a pretty good race as well. But the Queenslanders look to be leading out from the front. Lenny Grigor, our 400-metre IM record holder from last night, has moving through nicely. And this is going to be a pretty big gap for the rest of the teams to catch, as Queensland have made their intentions clear. They want this title. And coming in now, it is a team out of South Australia in second, and New South Wales coming in third. As we do see a couple of the girls coming up for Queensland. And in South Australia, Keegan Coulter in the water now. And they're going to be finishing with Millie Lima. But it is all Queensland at this stage of the race, as the South Australians dive in now. It's be the West Australians that have taken that third position. But as we've said, this race will chop and change. Although Queensland have led from the get-go, courtesy of Bryce Crouch and Lenny Grigor. They put together a pretty solid relay here, and this is going to be very fast. A cracking swim there from Maya Zunker, a 24-8 split. So that is a great split there individually by Maya Zunker. The Queensland team has just absolutely dominated that race. 4 really solid splits from all team members. And there's the Victorian team that will get second, courtesy of a 23-0 split there from Luca Brown. And the New South Wales team getting in third there.
What a start from Queensland there with Bryce Krause. Now, we're just trying to work out if that was an Australian record let off there. That 25.73 was a flying time for that first 50 and helped Queensland set up that relay to take that gold medal in that second final of those relays, the 15 to 16-year-olds 4x50 medley relay. Queensland will take it out, and we're thinking an Australian record from Bryce Krause in that first 50.
Was wicked fast. He seemed to be hugging the lane rope too, which is positive. Maybe not just for that race, but for all races moving forward. Means he has a lot. As I see some individual athletes coming out now in our mixed 17 to 18 years state relay, my eyes immediately go to the big 6'6" man, Henry Allen from Victoria, who will be leading off the backstroke. He already has an Australian record in the 200-metre backstroke. He swam pretty fast in his 50 freestyle. He went 22.5. So can Henry Allen throw down the gauntlet leading off this Victorian team, and will the rest of the teams be able to catch the Vics?
Well, we may have just seen a record from Bryce Krause, the Oz record, Isaac Cooper, 24.59. Now that is lightning fast from Cooper, but Allen potentially with a chance here, representing the big V out of lane 2. You know, he's got the big dog in the house, Rob Woodhouse, watching on,
Take your marks.
cheering the Victorians on. So what do we have in store here? The final event for this evening. Let's keep an eye on lane 2. The time to beat, 24.59, the Australian record. Swimming strongly, Sam Calmagnani, but you'll get the wide shot. Here it is. Henry Allen absolutely blistering down this first lap. Just caught on the lane rope, but it won't matter as he comes down to stop the clock in lap 1, 24.87.
Yeah, he looked like a big windmill there, Henry Allen. Just touching the lane rope a touch. But that was an extremely quick swim, 24.87. Any swim under the 25-second mark in the 50-metre backstroke is world class, not just for your age group, but for your open. So fantastic effort there. He's got his team into a pretty good position here. Lily Kosh holding on, racing the couple of the guys from WA and New South Wales. We'll see how the lead chops and changes here. She put a fantastic effort there, a 30.8 split from Lily Kosh to keep her team up there as we move towards that butterfly leg of the race. Again, we're going to see that switch. The New South Wales and Western Australian opting to go for the girls on this leg, but the Victorians going with Eli Billman, and he will be handing over to Gabrielle King. Can she hold on and hold off the charging New South Wales and West Australian teams?
I think the battle might actually come from Queensland here as they've handed over to their final athlete, absolutely storming down the middle of the pool is Declan Simpkins. It's not going to be enough to chase the gold. Victoria will claim another, and it goes the way in a 1:46.11. New South Wales gets second through Helly Charles, 25.14 on the end. Simpkins home incredibly quickly, but Queensland round out the podium with the bronze. The Big V represents to close out the program.
Some really exciting state relays to finish out that program. Victoria taking the win in that last relay, that 15 to 16-year-olds 4x50 medley state relay. Victoria winning overall. They won 2 of the 3 relays tonight. Queensland only winning 1. As that concludes a beautiful night of racing, we'll clarify to see if Bryce Krause broke that record in that relay with that 25.73, a cracking first 50 from him.
Been such a great night, Em. Thanks for joining us on the coverage. Alex Graham as well. My name is Rollo. Thanks for all the action here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Don't forget the heats for Day 5 kickoff tomorrow at 9 a.m. You're live and exclusive through 9 now. We'll see you in the morning.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.